Told y'all boys, levels to this. AM Sports Media, acknowledge us. #1 boxing podcast out there. Ain't no one doing it better. Debating, film study, documentaries, we do it all. Name another channel that can do that. Acknowledge us. Levels to this. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, we killing them. Don't matter. Only place you can come and debate. Ain't gotta be worried about getting kicked out. And go one-on-one, mano a mano, with the great one. Oh yeah. Be ready for it. Levels to this. Anybody that wanna come get it, you can come get it. We welcome all debate. Crawford lovers, Haney lovers, Gervonta Davis lovers, Canelo lovers. Doesn't matter. We welcome it. Live streams every four. Discord, come get it. Y'all boys ain't ready. AM Sports Media, where legends are born. So are y'all ready? I'm ready. Let's get the show started. Acknowledge us, bruh. Acknowledge us. We told y'all boys, levels to this. AM Sports Media, acknowledge us. #1.
Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. He is Jason, the chosen one. I am Greg, the king of all kings. How's everybody in the chat doing today? I'm still on location. I'm live though. I keep making it happen, Jay. Even though I'm in different areas of the country or what have you. I keep making it happen, man. These live streams keep happening, but boy, I'm tired in the sun bit right now. My kids done put it on my ass. My oldest here, who's from visiting us from college, and man, boy, college kids, boy, I tell you, I had to take care of her. And all earlier today, I was doing manual labor, taking care of the stuff that she needed taken care of. So I'm exhausted. Came back, did a little work, my real job, and that was very frustrating as well, considering what I saw. But either way it goes, man, what you can depend on is old Greg. I'm gonna make it happen, dog. I'm gonna make it happen. All right. So, Jay, let's start off by giving those who support the channel some love. Rock Dog Interactive, if you need anything in regards to website design, logo design, anything of that nature, reach out to Rock Dog Interactive. They can hook you up. They are who hooks us up all the time. Black father figures to leave a legacy. We haven't heard from him in quite some time, but I love the work that he's doing out in our community, so I'm going to always big up him. And then Nadaj Vodka, www.nadajvodka.com, the best tasting vodka that is currently out there on the market. Has a great kiwi taste, Jay. And the owner is African American, and he is out of Jacksonville, Florida. So go support Black-owned businesses. All right, Jay. Let me see what we got going on in the chat real quick. All right. So shout out to Barbara D. Salute all things. Shout out to Lil J. Jay in the building. What's up, Zach B? Band up in the building. What's going on, Desmond Johnson? Oh, who else we got off in here? That's all I see so far. We got 38 people in the building. 6 likes. John Mack, what's going on? When you get the opportunity, make sure you smash the like button so other people can find this content. Yeah, that's it. Let's do it, man. Where you want to start, Jay? You there, Jay? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Oh shit. Can y'all still hear me? Can y'all still hear me? Let me know. Jason, Mike is out. I don't know what's going on with Lil J. Lil J, what's going on with your mic, fam? They can hear me, Jay, they can't hear you. This ninja stuff is always screwed up. Damn, man. No, ain't nothing on me. Because everything.
Oh, you heard that though.
No,
I heard that though.
I can tell what
you heard that though.
I can tell what your mouth is saying.
You heard that.
I read your lips. All right. Where you want to start, man?
Yeah, man. I'm still waking up, man. Long day yesterday watching my Canes kick ass in that Gainesville.
Jesus Christ. Can we go? We talking about boxing here, man.
Yeah. Hey, you talked about your punk ass Seminoles last time once before when they were winning. I hear that shit. It's because you did manual labor. Shut up. So let's get this shit started. All right, y'all. Let's see. So Devin Haney, I think we got some heat from this one a little bit because of the way we talked about it. So Devin Haney looking to continue his weight bullying with Liam Paro. You know, Eddie trying to slide something through, trying to go through the IBF, but also avoid doing the 10-pound rehydration clause, trying to say it's going to be a unification bout, although Devin is not the current champion because the champion is going to be fought between Sandor Martin and who was he? I forgot who Sandor Martin is going to be fighting for the belt. So that's what he's trying to do. I'm not sure why Devin just didn't stay with it and keep it. But I give Devin credit if he is going to fight Liam Paro because that's the best fighter at 140. But I still don't like the fact that they're trying to circumvent the weight on the rehydration clause on that. Although Devin had also said that he wasn't going to fight at any weight class, but now it's saying he might be coming here. So we'll see how that goes on that. What's your thoughts on Devin Haney looking to try to get around a weight rehydration clause by the IBF that's normally done when they fight unless it's a unification?
Just Devin Haney doing Devin Haney things. People get upset with us when we keep it real. Man, I might go off on a few tangents today because there's a lot of things that are circulating in my mind. I saw somebody in the comment section talking about how we have admitted in our videos that we're biased. You would think that people would respect the fact that we are able to come on our platform and admit that we have biases. And the reason why we have no issue with saying that we are biased is because everyone is biased, and to suggest otherwise would be disingenuous. And they make these comments when we say this stuff, Jay, and then they try to then use that against what it is that we're saying. What he forgot that I said also in that video, or what many have said and have forgotten, is that we also support everything that we say with logic and fact. Period. Right? And when you think about what Devin Haney is doing, is he a champion right now? He's a champion in recess, but a champion in recess isn't a champion. right? Because you don't have a title. It just gives you the opportunity to fight for the title. You get first dibs at fighting for the title.
Exactly. It's bullshit.
What trying to use that designation as a way to circumvent a rehydration clause with the IBF. That's real, man. That's not fake stuff right there. That's real. And I saw somebody, shout out to 2 Cent. I saw somebody on 2 Cent's podcast. This was Friday. Because after I went to dinner, I came back home and I saw 2 Cent was live. And I jumped on her live in the comment section. And this gentleman was talking about, well, y'all ain't heard Devin say that. You ain't heard it out his own mouth. You ain't heard that. You just heard Eddie Hearn say so and so. Dog, those are one of the weakest. Like, I hate arguments like that, bro. And the reason why I hate arguments like that, Jay, is because then no one can come to any conclusion because none of us are in any of these rooms, right? Like, so how do you vote for your presidential candidate? You're not in any of the rooms. You're listening to what they say publicly, and then you're drawing comparisons between what the other candidate is saying, and you're also listening to what they're not saying. You're also connecting dots in terms of things they said in the past and things they're saying today, an explanation for those variances, right? That is what anybody that's rational and intelligent, that's what they're doing. So that is how we do all of these things, Jay, right? That's how you figure out who's telling the truth and who's lying. Just because certain pieces don't fit together, they don't make sense. So why on God's green earth would Eddie Hearns mention that there's potential for Devin Haney to circumvent the IBF rehydration clause if there has not been any discussions with Devin Haney in regards to that being a barrier for a Liam Paro fight? It makes no sense. Conversations are being had, or he wouldn't have said it, but he's relying on the fact that he hasn't heard Devin Haney specifically say it. Even if sometimes, Jay, they lean on someone even if they don't say it verbatim.
Yeah, it's coming from Eddie.
Exactly. Hold on. Let me. Who is your dad back?
No, he's in the car.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't want y'all to hear all the work that's going to be in this live stream.
It's coming from Eddie, man. It's not like we're making it up. It's coming from fucking Eddie, man. And Hannibal, why are you bringing Tank in this conversation? We're not talking about Tank. We're talking about Devin. That's the problem. You can't stay on task here. My bad, Joe. Go ahead, keep going.
Diversion tactics, right? I want to divert your attention from what is actually being discussed, right? I want to use straw man arguments where I misrepresent what you're saying to bolster my own argument, right? And those are and when we point those things out, they get upset about that. Man, you cannot argue against someone that understands the techniques of arguing, because I'm going to point out exactly what it is that you're doing, right? So it is what it is. Devin does not want to adhere to a rehydration clause. We all understand this. He doesn't. Because at the end of the day, Devin Haney is a 147 pounder, or maybe even 154 pounder. My God, the man came into the ring versus Regis Prograis at 165 pounds. After weighing in at 140, he's clearly not a 140 pounder. And I think it's dangerous what he's doing, honestly. It's dangerous. Quay Leonard said a chat full of Austrian fanboys. I don't even know what that means.
No, he said, Quay Leonard said, Devin going to prove all you Ryan fans wrong. Watch. Like, no one's a fucking Ryan fan. I can't stand Ryan Garcia.
So let's address some of the things that are being said in the chat, because I do want to address this, right? Rehydration clauses should be illegal. Why? I would argue that what they should do is put rehydration clauses in to protect fighters, and that would force a fighter like Devin Haney to fight at his natural weight class. Instead of going down to 140, ballooning up to 165, and then having a 15-pound advantage on your opponent.
But it's also to protect the other protect both fighters. It's not healthy for you to drop the fucking weight like that and rehydrate like that.
Exactly.
It's not fucking healthy.
That is not normal, and it's also not healthy. And I don't even know how he's rehydrating that much without an IV. That's a lot of rehydration. So these are the things that so your mind is warped. What you want as a Devin Haney fan is to create an environment where he can continue to have that advantage. That's what you're really saying. Say it without saying it. That's what you're doing, right? And just say that. You cool with him having that advantage. But don't try to make it seem like, oh, it should be illegal. No, they should have a rehydration clause in there to protect both fighters. Number one, a fighter dropping too low and then rehydrating too quick, that's dangerous. And then a fighter coming into the ring against an opponent that is naturally at a weight class and having a decided advantage over them. That would force people like Devin Haney, people like Ryan Garcia to go up and fight at their natural weight classes and get put in the dirt. Simple. They never paid attention to
Arturo Gatti. They never paid attention to Arturo Gatti when Arturo Gatti did that bullshit. He came in outweighing the guy by like 25, 30 pounds. So they're cool with that. Just because you make the weight. And you come in the next week, you fight in 2-3 weight classes above.
Quay Leonard, what the fuck are you talking about? The IBF actually has a rehydration clause for exactly what I'm talking about. What the hell are you talking about, man?
Oh, man.
Dude, you can't make this shit up. Okay.
Bro, this shit is funny, bro.
I'm going to stop.
It's funny.
In the chat. I'm not going to even respond to it. Quay Leonard, if you want to respond to you, hit me with a super chat. I'll respond to you. But I'm not going to respond to you off the strength of what you're saying. Because what you're saying don't make no sense.
John Mack, Spence was fighting in the IBF. He was part of that 10-pound rehydration clause.
Facts. For the longest. Until he became unified. I think once he became unified, he probably didn't have to adhere to it any longer.
Yeah. And if Spence is coming in 20 pounds over, then he's part of that conversation as well. We're talking about anyone. We don't give a damn what fighter it is. We said fighters. We don't care who it is. If you come in being a weight bully, that's not healthy. That's not cool. It's not fair, and it's not cool. It's not healthy for you neither.
Follow the bouncing ball, dumbass. The IBF has a rehydration clause, and they're in negotiation to circumvent it using the WBC. What don't you understand? What did you understand, bruh? Good Lord. Anyway, shout out to Devi and Trotty. I see her in the building. Want to give her some love. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and Hannibal talking about Tank and Canelo fans using this weight bullet. I can't stand Canelo, y'all. People know this. I've been saying he's been ducking Benavidez for the longest. Tank now you saying Tank using a weight bully. Come on, man. Y'all, boy, oh boy. Y'all just really, y'all crazy with this shit today. Y'all crazy with this shit. And we're saying this for the health of both fighters, fools. To make it an equal playing field for both fighters.
Exactly. It's very simple to understand. It's very simple to understand. And I think if the roles were reversed and it was your favorite fighter that was at a disadvantage, my guess is you would be against any rule that would be eliminating a rehydration clause. But it is what it is. Jay, I don't know if there's anything else you want to cover on this or what have you.
They want to see fighters like in the UFC trying to dying to make weight and falling and fainting as they make weight. They make weight and then they fall off the damn stage because they're cutting the weight to be too low. That's what they want to see. And then they get beat the next day or potentially paralyzed or lose their life because they're at a disadvantage now because they're fighting at the wrong weight class. But y'all cool with that. Got it. Just because they make the weight the day before. Got it.
Exactly. Man, let me drop this link in here for I gotta drop this link in here for 2 cents, man. All right, see you. I gotta drop this link in here for 2 cents because I want her to join in. She was cooking on this very topic, Jay. When was that? That was Friday. And so she would have a pretty interesting perspective on this. 2 cents. I'm gonna send it directly to you in. I'm gonna send it to you in the Discord. Let me find 2 cents in the Discord. 2 cents. What 2 cents? Give me a second, Jay. My bad.
You're all good. No, I'm just reading the chat. It's like the way they just shift the discussion, man. It's just crazy. Talking about how Eddie said this about trying to avoid the rehydration clause. Now suddenly let's start talking about Tank, Benavidez, Canelo, everybody else but the actual conversation at hand. Because you have nothing to fight that conversation right there. And how's Tank a weight bully, man? Tank could damn near make 130 when he's usually around 135 and probably rehydrates to 150 at that
I don't understand what Jay talking about, man. God, dog, Jay's the biggest Tank Davis fan, man. He right up there in Washington, D.C. I don't understand why you hate like that, man. What does Rayo have to do with what we talking about right now? And Rayo don't rehydrate up to 165 pounds, dog. Simply put, Jay, you want Tank to go into a fight in a position where he can lose because you don't like him. Simple. Just say that. Just say that.
And what they forget about the whole when Tank fought Ryan and rehydration clause, that was because Ryan didn't want to try to lose 1 extra pounds where he was at 135 fights before that. If he had fought going at 135, there wouldn't have been a rehydration clause. Y'all do realize that and do know that, right? He chose he couldn't want to go down, so Tank said, "Fuck it, I'll fight you." 136.
Hey man, what Quay Leonard came from, man? It was my first time seeing him on here, man. Boy, he getting busy in the comment section. Man, shout out to Quay Leonard.
Talking about
Nothing to say about this, but shout out to Quay Leonard, man.
That was he called us coward because of Devin Haney. Fool, do you know? Guess what? Guess what? Two people, one or two few people in podcasts that were actually backing Devin for the Loma fight. It was us.
Right here. We took heat saying that Devin Haney won that fight. We took heat. I said, I don't know what y'all looking at in that fight.
Who was the one that's saying that we liked the way Haney's dad was moving him to get them notoriety and stuff?
Right over here, sir.
Us.
Right over here.
Okay, Quaylen. Oh, you talking about the chop?
I want to address something. AJ Gray said Greg said the other day he wanted to see Bud in the fight so he can lose. Why not say that about Tank? Yeah, that's fair. Sure enough said it. I want to see him get put in the dirt. But I admit it. That's the difference, AJ Graves. I admitted it. Jay doesn't admit that. Two different things. I admit it. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Man. Let's see what else we got. So we know that on September 14th, there's two events going on. There's a UFC event going on, and then we also know that there's Canelo event. I'm not happy about that fight card. I'm not happy you're fighting Berlanga. For those that don't know, I'm not a Canelo fan. I didn't like him going that European diet. I don't like the way he's moved, how he's avoided Benavidez. But we know he's not getting Benavidez not getting that fight. So that's why I'm chilling on that.
I'm starting to become a Canelo fan. Go ahead, though.
Fuck Canelo.
Okay.
So but Canelo is his event is kicking the UFC's ass because Dana White came out saying that they're already down 20 million already. They're already down. And Turkey was talking about they're going to pretty much take Canelo behind the woodshed and beat his ass and destroy him on that same night. Shit ain't happening. Canelo still has a pulling. I hate the card as far as him fighting Berlanga is bullshit, but it is what it is. He's still a draw. He's still the face of boxing overall. Mm-hmm. So I mean that's what's going on right now with that, but it's going to be funny that card is going to kick UFC ass, and that's not the best card out there. It just ain't. With Canelo headlining against Berlanga, I like Caleb Plant out there fighting. You know, I want to see him get back fighting. Laura and Danny Garcia is going to be interesting fighting. Rolly is just funny as far as the build up. But what's your thoughts on that? Canelo versus the UFC.
Man, I had a conversation with someone last week. Someone who is in boxing. You could even call this person an executive in boxing. And I had an interesting conversation. It's great being in this, Jay, because you get these connections with people that that you just have general conversations, and they're off the record conversations. So I will never say, but this individual pretty much confirmed what my understanding of Turki Al-Sheikh has always been. That Turki Al-Sheikh is not independently wealthy, that he is in charge of a certain fund associated with Saudi Arabia, and that fund is designated for building the brand of Saudi Arabia outside of the oil industry. That's what his job is. And he also confirmed something that I have been saying for quite some time, which is he has to turn a profit. He doesn't have unlimited resources to just lose money. And that was made evident by the fact that he didn't go all out to make a Canelo Alvarez fight. Right? Because he's like, I'm going to pay him what I deem as quote unquote reasonable. Right? So clearly he is not what people believed he is. I heard Tim Bradley, shout out to Tim Bradley, because he definitely supports your show, man. Much love to him. But he mentioned that he had unlimited resources. And I don't even think Tim really understands exactly who he is, right? I heard the GOAT on there talking about the fact that, you know, he the king of Saudi Arabia. So she has no idea yet. She wants to do business with him.
Yep.
So this man has come into boxing understanding that people don't necessarily understand who he is. And he has approached specific fighters in ways that I felt was disrespectful. Now, I talked to this gentleman about this situation. I talked to another person about 2 weeks ago about the situation. And it's like what Turki Al-Sheikh wants to do is bypass the teams associated with these fighters and go directly to the fighters. Right? And he is positioning himself as someone that basically you can't say no to. Right? And there's people in the sport, and we've said this on multiple occasions, Jay, that fighters that can sell in the United States don't need Turki Al-Sheikh. Jay, am I lying?
They don't.
They don't need. Shout out to Two Cent in the building. Hold on, let me get her in here real quick because I did not realize she had joined us. I just saw that she joined. Give me a second.
2 Cent, congrats on the 1K.
Yes, sir. I like that. That 1K. That's we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that in a second. Definitely.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I unmuted you. What's up?
Okay. What's going on, y'all? Thank you for having me up on the panel. Shout out to the chat. What's up?
Nothing much. So let me keep going. We're gonna circle back to Devin Haney. But so as I mentioned before, fighters that sell currently in the United States and otherwise do not need Turki Al-Sheikh. And therefore you cannot approach them as though you are the Dundada and that they must accept any and everything that you say out of your mouth. That was the absolute wrong approach in terms of addressing Canelo. Clearly, it was the wrong approach in terms of approaching Tim Tszyu. And that's creating some challenges. Now, when Turki Al-Sheikh, when you show resistance to Turki Al-Sheikh, when you show that you do not care in terms of the money that he brings, he act like a little bitch. He does. He wants to go after Canelo and try to attack Canelo and say he's going to outperform Canelo, all while trying to say that he's here to help boxing. Saying that he wants 306 to just crush Canelo. Yet 306 is losing money. Dana White said that they have lost $20 million, Jay. And that's before they've even paid the fighters. Turki Al-Sheikh is about to take yet another bath. Clearly, he does not know what he's doing. He should have hitched his wagon, if he was going to hitch a wagon to anyone, to the PBC. And we're going to talk about that later today too. But he should have hitched his wagon to the PBC. So at the end of the day, I don't believe that Canelo Alvarez fight is going to happen. I've heard from at least two different sources that are in boxing that I'm not going to say that they're like in Canelo's camp, but there are people that, how do you put it, Jay? They have connections in boxing that feel like that fight more than likely is not going to happen unless they blow the doors off the hinges to make that fight with Terence Crawford. So where else do you go? Because his fight cards have not been as good as everybody's trying to pretend. The best fight card in North American history. Bullshit, it was. And none of the other fights that he's put on have been like amazing cards. They've been good cards, but nothing amazing. And shout out to Jake Donovan, because Turki Al-Sheikh went out to Jake yesterday. Jake is my guy. I love Jake. He's been on the show most of the time. And Jake had to fire off a shot back. Jake tried to keep it diplomatic and say, hey, the only reason I deleted my tweet was because I was getting all these bot responses. And Turkey continued to call him a cow. So Jake said, man, fuck you. Good night. Good night, Ninja.
That was a knockoff home run right there by Jake.
Yep. So 2 Cent, what's your thoughts on that? And then we're gonna circle back to Devin Haney.
On what exactly?
The Canelo Alvarez situation currently going on with Turkey Al-Sheikh in 306.
Which is what?
The UFC fight on September 14th.
The competing they're trying to do with PBC?
Yeah, they're competing, and the fact that UFC 306 is right now $20 million in the red before they even pay their fighters.
I don't know, but I'm not sure exactly what Turkey Al-Sheikh got going on, but if he's this great fan of boxing, I don't understand why you would be competing against it. It doesn't make any sense, in my opinion. And I don't know. A lot of people are saying he's losing all this money because it's an investment for his country, and he's trying to do tourism and all of that. And I really don't understand the whole tourism concept, because usually when tourism, people come to you because it's something not available where they're at. So I don't know why you would think you would come take boxing and then bring it over there, and then people are going to come over there to watch boxing. It's weird. I don't get that. But the losing money and so much money, I think is very concerning, and you kind of have to ask yourself, like, why is he cool with like losing tens and 20 millions of dollars? Like, it's weird. I don't care how much money you have. Nobody wants to be losing that much money, but somehow people think this is an investment, and I don't know how fast he's going to be able to, one, get a return on the investment, let alone get the money back he's already invested. So when people keep saying this is an investment, it's like, I mean, at what point is he going to be able to recoup that money and then turn a profit for it to have been a great investment? I don't understand that, but I don't know what's the deal with him and Canelo. I don't see the Canelo Crawford fight happening. It just don't make sense to me. And I don't know if Crawford think he's going to get such a great payday for that fight, but I don't understand why he wouldn't get paid like everybody else that fights Canelo, especially based off his numbers and what he brings to the table.
Facts. Hey, real quick, let me hit Big Hearn. Big Hearn with the 199. Appreciate you, fam. Name the list that can avoid Turkey Al-Sheikh help list. So I can start with. So first and foremost, we got Gervonta Davis, we got Canelo Alvarez, we got Errol Spence. Clearly, Fundora doesn't need his help because he's not running to that fight. Who else? Tim Tszyu, because he's not running to the fight. Let's say everybody that's on PBC. There you go. Next.
Benavidez, Charlos.
Facts. Next.
I mean, wow.
Oh, the boxing store.
Yeah, hey, 2 Cent, what you think about Dev and Liam Paro?
Listen, first let me say this about Devin Haney. I do agree and do believe that he needs to be moved very strategically from this point forward, especially in his next possibly 2 or 3 fights. But what I don't agree with is you using these quote-unquote strategic moves and finding loopholes in order to get belts and bypass rules. Now, if you say you're unified and that's the reason why you get to bypass the weight clause, but if Liam Paro beats you, he doesn't become unified. That's where I think that's kind of not fair, in my opinion, because you get to use a belt to bypass something, but I don't get to win a belt if you bypass the rule and I win. So I don't think that's cool. But I mean, if it's in the rules and you can get away with it, I guess that's smart on their part. But part of me kind of feels like Eddie Hearn is like, yeah, we can get this rule done. We can get this rule done. Then you sign or whatever you do, and then it's like, oh no, they said you can't do it. So I'm not sure if he's feeding Devin to Liam Paro or if he's really looking out for his best interest.
I mean, I give Devin credit if that's the fight that's going to be next for him with a Liam Paro. I give him 100% credit for that. You know, regardless of the rehydration clause or not, because that's the best fighter at 140 right now. Because you never know what you're going to get with Tio. You know, Tio 1 minute, Tio looks great. Then next minute, Tio looks like average, and he could have lost, against Jermaine Ortiz as well. So I give him credit for that caliber of a fighter and not doing the stuff. But I agree with you where I think he should be moved strategically. I don't think that would be the best fight for him coming back off of a fight that he had with Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think Devin may be okay physically. Maybe we'll have to wait and see. But I honestly believe that Devin is mentally defeated. And the reason why I say that is because once I heard Eddie Hearn say that they took the minimum guarantees because they thought their fight was going to do close to Ryan and Tank numbers, at that moment I realized that it was a lot of people or things going on with Devin that he started to believe whatever hype or whatever was going on. And to just have that crush like that has to be mentally defeating. And even if, he was cheated with the Ostarine and he felt like that's why Ryan won, I think deep down in his heart he knows that that's probably not only the only reason and not only the case, but he also knows that people around him weren't straight up or honest with him, and he definitely was advised with the wrong game plan. I mean, that has to take a lot out of a person, but I don't know. Maybe he's mentally strong enough to overcome it and deal with it and look in the mirror and be honest with himself. I don't know. We'll just have to see. But I'm interested to watch and see how this goes, especially if they're able to get around this weight clause.
Me too.
Yeah, so let's pause here real quick because I do want to say, number one, we have, let me see here. I done lost my doggone screen. We have 105 people in the building, 38 likes. If you get the opportunity to smash the like button, make sure you do so. And if you're new to the channel, this is the Angry Man Podcast and Sports Media, where we're always dropping boxing-related content. So make sure you check us out. We do it all here. We do boxing breakdowns, takes, documentaries, and I can even rhyme. And we all know I can do that. 2 Cent wanted to get on the track with me and drop a few bars. So we all know I get busy with mine. So make sure you go ahead and smash that like button and become a subscriber. Subscribers, think about becoming a member. It's $2.99 a month, and it helps us to bring you guys this great content. And I do also want to pause and celebrate 2 Cent, who just hit 1,000 subscribers. 2 Cent, how long have you had your channel up? I'm just curious.
Woo! I say I've been actively just really putting out content on my channel for about a year.
Yeah.
Possibly I was doing it a while before the Spence Crawford fight, but once that fight hit, I kind of started posting and doing a lot more videos so I could just kind of use that momentum from the fight to build my channel.
Yeah. I can tell you 1,000 subscribers is tough. I don't think people understand how tough it is to get to 1,000 subscribers. It's a lot of work. And so I want to congratulate you on getting to that 1,000. When you get to 1,000, 2 becomes easier, 3 becomes easier. But that first 1,000 is a mother, because YouTube is a sea of data and you are just a pebble in that sea. So you have to figure out how to turn that pebble into a typhoon, or at least huge waves, so that people can find who you are and subscribe to your channel. So congratulations for that.
Thank you.
So Jason Williams just said she used the hate for Bud to build her channel, just like Greg and Jason. Well, guess what? Whether that's true or not, whether that is true or not, the fact remains we were able to do it. And let me tell you this, Jason Williams, there's a lot of smaller channels out there, my brother, that got 30 subscribers and 40 subscribers and 200 subscribers or what have you. Help me understand, using the same type of content, they don't like Terence Crawford. Why is it that we are succeeding and they are not? Answer that question. Thank you. Anyways, next topic.
Yeah, since you're talking about Bud, so the WO orders Terence Bud Crawford versus Sebastian Fundora. For a purse bid. So we're gonna see, I think they got 30 days since what was that, Wednesday of last week? I believe it was.
Yeah, something like
that. So that's gonna be interesting, since Terence just seemed like he only wants to fight Canelo. He only wants to get the bag for Canelo. Y'all be real, it's for the bag, not necessarily legacy. Legacy is just a icing on the cake, but the real reason is the bag. So it's gonna be interesting if Bud wants to even do this fight with Sebastian Fundora. I hope if he does go through with it, this fight has to happen this year, in my opinion. It needs to happen this year. You can't have that man out until February and March, because that's what Bomac had said was going to happen. That's what he said. That's when they were looking to have Bud come back to fight February and March of next year. Sebastian was already talking about, like, he wasn't even thinking about Bud, wasn't even acknowledging Bud, because he was pretty much locked in on a potential fight with Errol Spence. We know Spence has some other things going on as far as training and all this other stuff going on outside the ring. So I don't know if that's holding him up or anything like that, or
no. Hold on. Sebastian Fundora in the chat. That's not the real Sebastian Fundora.
Nah.
Yeah, that can't be the real Sebastian Fundora. But I didn't think that was the real Tim Tszyu either. So
you mean?
I'm sorry,
Tim
Bradley.
But no, I'm sorry, Jay. I just saw that pop up. Before you start back, though, I want to say this. Jason Williams, I hate you. ASVP TV, I hate you. Yeah, those are two I want to say I hate. Let's continue.
You definitely threw me off on that. But
Tell Sebastian, click the link.
I haven't dropped the link in there yet. I don't believe that's Sebastian Fundora. You know what? I'm gonna drop the link in here. Nobody else join this link right now. Don't join this link. If this is truly Sebastian Fundora, I'm pinning. If that's really Sebastian Fundora, join the chat.
He said drop the link.
Okay, they saying that is not Fundora.
It is me.
A lot of people follow the channel, so
yeah.
But go ahead, Jay. My bad.
Damn it, Greg. You know we owe you throw us off track. A2 said you go ahead and rock with the whole. What's your thoughts on WBO ordering Bud versus Sebastian? Because Greg messed me all up.
I don't know. So this is my question: if Sebastian doesn't fight Bud, is he emailed that belt?
Never, you know, not with Bud. It's he earned that belt. You know, that's not gonna be it.
I mean, I'm just curious because I'm serious. But I mean, I don't understand why they're ordering the fight. I thought it was Canelo or nothing. That was his only motivation for him to fight. So we'll see what happens. I'm just curious how this all gonna play out, because at this point, I don't know if Spence is really coming back unless he's just secretly behind the scenes getting ready, getting in tip-top shape, being the best he could be. I don't know if I see him coming back for that fight. So if he doesn't come back for that fight, I think he will fight Terence Crawford if Terence Crawford wants that fight.
Listen, I don't believe Terence Crawford wants that fight. I think Terence Crawford wants a bag. I think he wants the Canelo Alvarez fight. I think that's the only fight he wants, because he's probably sat down and had conversations with Turkey Al-Sheikh, and Turkey Al-Sheikh said, if the money that you're looking for is X, then the only way I can pay you that is to fight Canelo Alvarez. The only fight that would make sense for me to be able to pay you that. And that's why he is so adamant that, that's the fight that he wants. What Bud wants is his cake and eat it too. He wants to be able to hold up every division, 147, 154, at the same time being able to weigh his options in terms of a Canelo Alvarez fight.
But Greg, let me ask you, don't you have to petition for these positions to be mandatories and stuff like that?
No, you don't have to petition to be a mandatory. You don't have to petition.
So the WBA just decided to make Terence Crawford the mandatory.
Correct. Now you can petition for it, but you don't have to.
Huh. Right. Okay.
So my thing with Terence is that, we'll see. Now they pulling this card, right? Because Sebastian Fundora is basically saying, I'm not giving up my titles. And I'm going to tell you something else. And this is just my personal opinion. And it's just based off of what I'm seeing and just general conversations that I've had over the last few weeks. My gut tells me that Errol is not ready to go into a fight in a couple of months, and Fundora is looking to fight in the next couple of months. So I don't believe Errol Spence is going to be Sebastian Fundora's next fight, which means I believe he's much more open to a Terence Crawford showdown. And that's the reason why they're basically saying, hey, let's make that fight. There's no foregone conclusion that he's going to give up his title. Yeah, boxing scene was just talking about. Yes, yeah, I'm sorry. The boxing source said WBO super champ status. Yeah, but she was specifically talking about the WBA. So I think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I said, which is interesting. I think I make him mandate him fighting somebody else.
I can tell you why. Turkey Al Sheikh now has a business partnership with the WBC and the WBA. That is why. That is why. That's why I keep saying he's no different. He's no different from a promoter. No difference. No difference whatsoever. But at the end of the day, Crawford, I feel, is just chasing a bag. And I'm not mad at that. I don't want people to think that I'm mad at that. I just want them to say it. Hey, man, I want to get paid one more big paycheck and get out of the sport. Man, a lot of people will respect that. I respect that. Now, I will still point out the fact that, and we'll talk about this later, that you said all you got to do to make a Boots Ennis fight is to pay him. And now you got Turkey Al Sheikh there to pay him, but he still doesn't want to fight. But I have no issues with a fighter saying, specifically a fighter at his age, saying, man, I have a finite amount of time in this sport. And I'm going to move on after that. I have no issue with that. Just call a spade call a spade a spade, and stop trying to leverage your legion of blind witnesses and fans that don't understand anything, like ASVP TV and Jason Williams, like Lil J and Fabrizio. Stop leveraging them to make these weird ass cases in the general public out in the Discord and other places that make no damn sense. You're making them look like idiots. And shout out to a Kilo Neater, $5. Bud just fought, and he was lumped up. Plus, he doesn't fight but once a year. We'll see if he takes the fight with Fundora. Facts. He's not taking that fight. He doesn't want that fight. He don't want that fight. Fundora will be fighting whoever Fundora has planned already, and I don't believe it's going to be Errol Spence.
So if Earl doesn't fight Fundora, he's done. We could make that assumption. If he doesn't fight him in December. Man,
I think I wasn't before. I'm leaning toward Errol. Not necessarily saying that physically he's done necessarily, but I believe mentally Errol got his paycheck, and I think Errol may be of the mock. Like, let me just ask you, and this is not a knock towards Errol. When have you seen Errol? Have you seen Errol anywhere? Have you seen Errol training outside of that one training clip with Frank Martin right before Frank Martin got knocked out by Javante Davis? Have you seen Errol Spence?
Do you remember how Earl looked? Remember he trained for the Pacquiao camp, then he had to get the eye surgery, and then he popped out for the Ugas fight. Yeah. Do you remember how he looked? We hadn't seen Earl. He just popped out like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering, because I hear he working with Blu-ray. I hear rumors about that, so I'm wondering, is he on that? Is he going to pop out looking how he looked for that Ugas fight? Or, has he found a trainer? He's not saying anything. Yeah. Like, he's not even dropping a cryptic tweet or nothing.
I'm going to say this.
My thing is this with the trainer aspect. I know he still has that ordeal going on with DJ. And they have that's at least held up into the courts. DJ has until, I believe, June of next year before he can push forward with that case, whichever way it may go. So I don't know if that's still looming over his head. And that's why some trainers might be like, wait, you got to see what goes on with that or get more information on that. So that could be something as well that's holding up some things. So you never know with anything with all that stuff that he got going on.
Real quick. So conversation that I had last week, and I specifically asked this question. I said, man, do you believe that the Errol Spence versus Fundora fight is going to happen? Okay. This is somebody that could possibly have knowledge of this, of not necessarily the details of it, but if the fight could be moving in that direction. This person could easily tell me, because when they can't tell, like when people can't tell me something, they'll just tell me I can't tell you. Because this person told me, hey man, I can't comment on that, right? What I got was I don't know. That's what I got. I got I don't know. So that tells me that all that Blu-ray stuff, that ain't really happening. Because to me, if this was happening, what I probably would have gotten was it's a possibility, right? Nothing concrete, because I never really get anything like concrete. In certain situations, it's just kind of like, you know, it's enough that it can help you frame your conversation, right? And so to me, just based off what I heard, and again, I didn't get anything specific. I just feel like if there was something specific there, I would have gotten well, I can't really speak to that, or, you know, some things are in the works, or something like that, where it was, you know how politicians will answer a question where it's like, they'll give you an answer, but you kind of left to take your own conclusion from it, and it doesn't really have details in it. I would have gotten that. I didn't get that, which makes me believe that that fight isn't next. Does that make sense?
Yep. Well, I mean, I think it's not gonna do him any good to stay out of the ring this long and try to get in a tough fight. It just doesn't seem plausible, and it just doesn't make any sense.
Yep, I agree with you. So real quick, let's pause here real quick. I got to address one thing. So number one, ASVP TV mentioned that Bud gave him his highest payday, and so now he's ready to retire. But Bud can't give his goddamn self his highest payday. So how can Errol his highest payday? Man, get the fuck out of here, man. Shout out to Bob Arum, because Bob Arum tied Terence Crawford to the big fish, Errol Spence, and created enough demand so that fight ended up selling. And then once they detangled Terence Crawford from Errol Spence, he went right back to what the fuck he was. Anyway, we got 127 people in the building, 52 likes. Smash the like button, guys. We need you to smash the like button so other people can find this content. If you're new to the channel, this is the Angry Man Podcast and Sports Media, where we're always dropping boxing related content, whether it's fight breakdowns, documentaries, whatever, man, rap songs. I'm about to come out with an album, y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Like, well, Greg gonna make another rap song. We don't want that.
So back to what I was saying. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you're a subscriber, think about becoming a member. $2.99 a month. It greatly helps to support the channel and bring you guys this great content. All right, Jay, what other? Hold on, who is Akilo Needed? Sounds like Greg doesn't like Bud. I love. Let me state this before we move on, because this is always a misconception, right, Jay? And I think you feel the same way too, Sin. I think you feel the same way. I don't dislike any fighter. I don't know them personally, so I don't dislike them. Right? It's more so I don't like the way they move in certain instances. I criticize some of the things that they've done in the sport. It's all boxing related, but I don't dislike them. Right? Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just feel like that their favorite boxer is above criticism.
Every time, no matter what their favorite boxer does, if favorite boxer do anything wrong, they can say, "Oh, it's okay." They're gonna find a way to rationalize it. Yes, you do, Terence. Best videos. Stop it.
So I think, Jay, we can go ahead and we got the link pinned to the top. If you want to join the channel right now, I know we got one more topic. That's fine. We'll go through it. But if you want to go ahead and start joining join the link to have the discussion, by all means join. We're gonna keep this party rolling, Jay. Let's go.
Yeah. So the last part was something that hurt me when it fell apart. Was the damn Jaron Ennis and Brian Norman Jr. talks falling apart. The shit sucks, man. it's been so much out there saying, whether they wanted this amount or that amount, what they want to take home. If some people saying it was a duck, some people saying it's not a duck. I'm just hating the fact that we're not getting a fight. Would have been a damn good fight, in my opinion, with what was going on at this point in time. Because I damn sure don't want to see Boots fight Karan again. I don't want to see that. I know Karan fought his way back up to beat Amando again, being the number one slot, but no one wants to see that shit, yo. Everyone wants to see. I prefer to see this fight here, Karan, Boots Ennis, and Norman Jr. What's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on that, 2 Cents?
I mean, if they would have made the fight, cool. But I really don't feel no type of way they didn't make the fight. It wasn't even really a fight that too many people were asking for before the whole negotiation started going back and forth and all of that. So, I mean, whether we see it now or later, I would have been cool with that. But it's given we didn't have any intention on fighting, in my opinion. They're like, oh, we wanted this much because we got to pay taxes. We got to pay fees. We got to do this. We got to do that. And I'm like, dude, listen, it's not these people's responsibility to pay your taxes and fees. It's your responsibility to figure out whatever you need to do to be able to get around that as a business. But it just seemed like no matter what they would have offered, they would have just been like, oh, we just want a little bit more. We just want a little bit more. So I don't know. And I also feel like it was kind of on Eddie Hearn to make that fight happen for Boots Ennis because he knew what his goal was when he came over to Matchroom was to be undisputed. So I could see both sides of it. I really didn't think they should have paid Norman that much money, but thinking about Eddie Hearn being with Turkey Al-Sheikh and how they want to make the fights the fans want to see and how he got an unlimited bucket of money, the fight should have been made. But the fact that it wasn't made, I really don't think they really wanted it. But what they have done is attached Ryan Norman to Boots Ennis, and now he's going to have a lot more people with eyes on him.
Yeah, so my perspective on that, and I shared it on Friday, right? And I want to make sure it's very clear in what I'm saying. Brian Norman Jr. was trying to, number one, the whole notion that Brian Norman Jr. has never made X amount of dollars, well, he wasn't a champion at that point. So you can't hold somebody to the same standards, right? 2 Cent, I don't know what you do for your full-time work, but if whatever it is that you do, if you were to go and get some type of high-level certification for that, then you telling me that you would take somebody telling you, oh, well, no, I'm going to hold you to the same standard. You only made, I don't know what you made, but I'm going to $50,000 a year in your last job. I know with your experience and your certification, you should be making 75, but I think it's fair to pay you 55 because you only made 50. But no, my resume has changed since then. Therefore, I demand this amount of dollars. So I don't like that analysis, right? Like when somebody's doing that, right? That makes no sense. So that's number one. Now, could it be argued that at the end of the day, they can't pay him $2.5 million? Absolutely. Because you got to look at the entire business structure of it, right? And if the business and what they can sell doesn't support him getting $2.5 million, then that is what it is. Like what he's asking for is way too high. But what he was trying to do, in my opinion, is to leverage the fact that Boots Ennis has a mandatory coming up against a guy that nobody wants to see him in the ring with. And so to make this fight, they were trying to use that as leverage to get more dollars. And I'm not mad at that either. So I'm not mad at Eddie Hearns for saying that, I'm sorry, but the economics does not support you making $2.5. I'm also not mad at Brian Norman for trying to leverage the situation to his advantage.
Yeah, if Eddie Hearn said, if it was only like, if money wasn't an issue, like the way some people try to make it seem, and it was only 250 or 500 was different, then go ahead and pay the man so we can get this fight since you're trying to make the best fights for Boots. Boots could have got this type of fighting Karan elsewhere. So I mean, it just sucks.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. Go back.
Nah, it just sucks, man. I'm a boxing fan first and foremost, so I want to see the best fight and the best. This, to your point, 2 Cents, this wasn't a fight people were asking for, but when it came in, I fell on our laps. I'm like, okay, I'll deal with it, you know, because not like a lot of other fighters at 147 was looking to fight Boots. We know Stanionis said he wanted more money, based on what he just said on I forgot what podcast he was on the other day. And then same thing with Barry. Barry was backed out because he was having his lady was having a baby. So with this guy stepping up, he's a title holder. I was like, okay, I'll deal with it. Next thing that I know now, best thing next for Boots is just to move up. It seemed like to get a better fight.
I want to address a couple of things in the chat on this lame ASVP TV. But when Bud do it, first and foremost, Crawford comes off as a disingenuous comment, and I don't know why you guys don't understand that. The issue that most people have, and Toussaint, correct me if you feel different than this, is not what Crawford does, it's how he does it and trying to present it as something that is legitimate when in reality it's something completely different. That's the problem that people have. Period. The Normans have told you that they believe that they're worth $2.5 million. They've spoken to what options Jaron Ennis has. So I don't get how you're comparing that to Crawford, who is trying to get like millions and millions and millions above what he even brings to the table, what he's worth. We talking about Brian Norman trying to get an extra few $100,000, not millions. What the fuck you talking about? Hey, get out of here. Well, what's your thoughts on that, Toussaint?
I mean, you know, they have to bring up Crawford somehow. Like, he just has to come up in the conversation when we make it about him. But
he's a glazer. He's a glazer. He got Crawford stuff all over his chest, all up in here, right here.
But I don't know. I mean, because also you got to think about this too, Greg. If they would have gave him the money, they would have set a horrible precedent. And here moving forward, every time Boots wanted to try to make a fight, everybody would have been outpricing themselves and causing Eddie and them to lose money. So you got to kind of put your foot down somewhere. You can't treat every situation the same because, you know, all these things in boxing are isolated incidents. Some situations you may have to make the sacrifices, but you got to figure out and pick and choose and kind of have a balance, because to pay Brian Norman $2 million, never headlined a card, never fought in his city, don't really have no metrics to go off of, to just drop $2 million on him, that would set a horrible precedent moving forward and Boots' journey to try to collect all the belts.
So somebody made a comment, and I'm gonna pass it to you, the boxing source. Welcome. Somebody made a comment in the comment section saying this is city bias. So it's interesting, city bias, because I was on Manager Marty's live earlier today. I popped in and I checked him out, saw what he was talking about, and he was talking about this very topic. And you have what they call a city bias, right? I'm in the A. And Marty's in Philadelphia. So the perspectives are going to be different, right? I think my perspective, though, is right in the middle. I don't think either guy is ducking each other. Like, I'm fine with how both guys position themselves. But it's true. There's a city bias. And the thing that I hate about all these folks that are in the comment section right now is that I have the cojones to admit that I have a bias. I'm pretty sure that, Toussaint, I'm pretty sure you have a bias towards Texas fighters. I would bet money you have a bias towards Texas fighters. We all have biases, right? But let's admit them and stop trying to pretend like you don't have a bias, because you do. The problem with your bias is that you try to support it with bullshit logic. That's the problem. The boxing source, what's going on, fam?
Yo, what's happening, Greg? Here we go. We're on AM Sports Media. Y'all hit the like button. Support the channel. Hit the like button. We had visited this particular topic. Oh, also real quick, want to say shout out to those Miami Hurricanes for dragging that trash ass team out of Gainesville all over the field. All right, now back to this. This thing here with Brian Norman. I said it the other day. It was pretty much like something where they said, you know what, we're gonna try the waters, or basically do a PR move, because what they asked for was way higher than what they're worth. and what Matchroom was able to provide for them. And so when it came to that, and things didn't necessarily work out, suddenly we hear from Dan Rayfield, was reported to by Dan Rayfield, that you have Brian Norman that's going to be involved in a card November 8th in Norfolk, Virginia against Derek Cuevas. And that was told to him by, the representative of Top Rank, Carl Moretti. So I find that very interesting, because it's like, how are you going to dangle out this carrot, so to speak, to say that there's a possible fight between Jaron Ennis and Brian Norman Jr. when you already have this here lined up to take place. So the thing about it is like, yeah, I mean, you got, of course, Brian Norman Sr. Saying some stuff. You got, Adrian Clark saying stuff in reference to their client. Okay, I understand that. But as you mentioned there before, Greg, like, there's only so much that you're going to be able to pay out for them to say no. And also with what 2 Cents is saying, it's like, hey, I mean, you can't pay out this much money just for a belt, basically, if you don't feel like, number one, you're going to be able to make that money back. And 2, like y'all mentioned before, you're going to set a precedent for, what is going to happen moving forward. Because, hey, for example, if Boots stays there at 147 and say he did have a fight with Brian Norman Jr. and they paid him, what, $2 million or 2.2 or 2 whatever, then how much would they pay for Mario Barrios or Ian Stanionis? Or like if Barrios and Stanionis fought in a unification, what would it take in order for them to fight for Undisputed? So that you can't necessarily put that out there to say, hey, we're going to pay you this much money, or basically, overpay for the belt because of what could happen moving forward.
Yeah, no, I mean, everything that you said makes sense, man. I'm tracking with it. I heard you make that argument. I think it was on Friday. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you didn't get a chance to hear that. But before we go there, shout out to Barbara D for the $5. Appreciate you, Barbara D. Much love. Jay, what's your thoughts on that?
No, I agree, but I thought Turkey was helping them out, so money shouldn't be a problem for anybody, regardless of what President Mike said. It's unlimited money from what people have been saying. So who cares? Pay everybody. I mean, if they send me a contract, I want $3 million off the top. They got to pay me that.
And this was another thing that I brought up. There's a difference between a Matchroom event and a Riyadh season event. And I brought this up when it comes to, at least recently, last month. You have the Riyadh season event headlined by Terence Crawford versus Israel Madrigal. The following week, at least here with Golden Boy, you had the thing there with Virgil Ortiz and Sergey Bochuk. Just last night, we just had a Matchroom event there, that involved Diego Pacheco against Marcy Selecki. And in that particular event, you did see something stamped in there saying Riyadh season. So, yeah, they could be like a somewhat sponsor of sorts, but that doesn't mean that they're going to put in so much money towards a fighter. Because as far as I know, I don't think Turkey Al Sheikh paid Diego Pacheco for that price tag. And if y'all check the purses, Diego Pacheco didn't get paid that much money for that fight. So it's a difference there in that particular sense. So you're not going to have, Turkey Al Sheikh be fully involved in having a Riyadh season event, especially when he has something coming up in a few weeks with, Joshua versus Dubois. You got the thing there in October 12th that's headlined by Fedoriev and Bivol. You got another thing that's scheduled for November that could happen. And then you got what he's trying to plan for December as well. So unless if he's saying, hey, I'll give the full go-ahead, then no, that's not quite how it works there with Turkey Al Sheikh.
I want to address something in the chat, a little conversation that's currently going on there. They're talking about Tank and Shakur Stevenson. Shout out to Jay. Jay is a long time supporter of AM Sports Media. But we got 132 people in the building. We only got 67 likes. Smash the like button, guys, so other people can find the content. Smash the like button. I don't have my soundboard here, but I'm gonna do a blue blood. Come on, man. Support the channel. Support the grind. I'm gonna do my blue blood impersonation, man. Come on, man. Let's go. Smash the like button, man. Let's go. Smash the like button so other people can find the content. This whole situation about Tank and Shakur Stevenson, And I do want to get your thoughts on this, JR. Just based off conversations. This is solely based on conversations. I would argue that Shakur Stevenson and team actually want to delay this fight, and Gervonta Davis' team actually want this fight to happen now. And that's the vibe that I'm getting. Tank team would prefer this fight now. Shakur team would prefer this fight maybe in 2025. And and the reason being, Tank is like 29. They want Tank to go ahead and fight a guy while Tank is still in his prime, not wait 2 years. There's no advantage for Tank waiting a couple of years to fight Shakur Stevenson. He wants to fight him now while he's still in his physical prime. It is actually Shakur's team that wants him to get the opportunity to maybe face a couple of guys that may give him a similar look to Tank before he fights Tank. That's just, no one has said that verbatim, but I'm just like tying this conversation to this conversation to this conversation. And it sounds like, I'm not saying either one of them are scared of the other. All I'm saying is that I think Tank team would prefer that fight sooner rather than later, versus Shakur Stevenson team that would prefer that fight later rather than sooner for a number of reasons to prepare him. But not only that, to maybe come to the negotiation table with a better position. What's your thoughts on that? And before I get the floor to you, Jay just hit me with the 1999. Here's a dub for all the hard work, fellas, and 2 Cent. Appreciate your family. Thank you. Love. Go ahead. What's your thoughts?
No. First off, before I do it, go forward with that. Can we have our other guest here chime in on this stuff here real quick? He's been there in the chat, so I think it should still be around there for the audio. Is that
sorry. He does not pop up unless, so I'm not at home, so he doesn't pop up unless I see him on my screen on my laptop. So I have to go into another screen. But I just unmuted you, fam. Who are you and what's going on with you?
Hey, Sean's Blaze. Can y'all hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you y'all for having me on the show. I think I'll just comment on just the Tank and Shakur. I did have a lot of points with the Bud and Brian Norman and all that, but I can keep it brief for all of them. I think Tank and Shakur, I kind of think Tank wants to let it marinate a little bit more to raise Shakur's status, but no more than 1 or 2 fights. I think that, when they got that 6-fight, $240 million deal, they're trying to get a return on their investment, and they need to make that fight as big as possible. And so I think if Shakur can have like a very good, like he literally just has to get rid of Cordina, like he never stand a chance on an undercard and pay-per-view. They set up a main event for Zapa and he looks good versus Zapa. Then I think it looks like it's the big enough fight. Because my thing with Tank is no matter who he fights, they got to make the fight big. He's not going to fight a bum. He's not going to fight nobody. They got to get a return on their investment on these fights. So it's going to be competitive one way or another. And I think if you're looking at not trying to get like an average for all the fights, you just need one to hit. You need that $100 million fight. I don't know how they do it with streaming now. I don't know how they do it, right, with pay-per-view. I really don't. But I think they need and the reason why I think that is how they say in public. If you look at Shakur, he's always been respectful towards Tank. Talk about he's the A side. I want that fight. And then you got to think that Tank's not saying nothing bad about Shakur. He's not in the limited. He wants him to get bigger. He wants him to be a bigger name so they can make that fight and make more money. And that's what I think about that. And real quick, I hate that Brian Norman Sr. and Boots didn't make the fight. I know earlier they was talking about waiting a little later for like setting up an undisputed and all that. That's what Bosey and Norman Sr., I think social media and everybody talking got the best of them. I still wish and hope that they make that fight in the future at 147. Either they both take a fight and then figure it out again. I really wish for that fight. And then when it comes to Bud, I think Bud's already certified Hall of Fame. He got his money with Spence. He's going to do what he feels is best for him, with the business of boxing. And with that said, I'm complete.
All right, man. Appreciate you for
That's what's up. That was a good take on that one, man. For Shakur, I'm kind of interested in to see what happens with him, because I mean we had the whole deal that whole ordeal that came out with Shakur Stevenson before he ended up signing with Matchroom, right? You had, or at least through social media, right? And I kind of like touched on this weeks back. You had like a report from IFL TV or a post by IFL TV, saying that there was a deal up there between Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson, and then all of that was basically nixed by Shakur Stevenson himself. And then after that, you had a post in reference to Shakur Stevenson on Boxing Scene in reference to his dealings with him and William Zapa. And it was almost like building up to something that it wasn't going to be Shakur Stevenson versus William Zapa next. So then after that, that's when we saw the whole thing with Shakur Stevenson, being with Matchroom and, eventually going to be fighting Joe Cordina there. So for me, I don't know what the direction is going to be for Shakur Stevenson at this particular point, whether it's going to build towards a Tank fight or not. It's just that a lot of people are criticizing his bout against Joe Cordina. Yes, we know that Joe Cordina lost to Anthony Casase at 130 pounds and lost that belt at 130 pounds. So it's like, why are you bringing him up to 135 to face Shakur Stevenson? So that's number one. On Tank's side, I said this from a while ago. When they said that, quote unquote, the dog's out the cage, that was pretty much saying that Tank Davis was pretty much open to fighting anybody at that particular point. Once they started to build him up to be a pay-per-view star and everything like that, at that time they weren't necessarily saying that, hey, we're ready to have him go up against anybody and everybody at that point, because they wanted to build him up from a business perspective to be who he particularly is right now as one of the faces of boxing. Now that he is, it's like, hey, I could go ahead and face anybody because I'm the A side. I could go to anybody and say, hey, look, I'm offering this. You're pretty much going to make money off that or whatever it is. So that's why, initially they were talking about, he could go ahead and face Vasyl Lomachenko, after Vasyl Lomachenko, got that IBF belt. And then Lomachenko said, hey, I got to take care of family and all of this and that. And he'll go to the Ukraine. But then we see him over at BMO Stadium in Los Angeles watching the Crawford and Majumov fight. So, that was one thing. So then that's why they tried to see about Shakur Stevenson. And while Tank was over in Paris, that's when we had the whole thing with Shakur Stevenson go down. So I think they're eventually going to, try to make that fight happen. It just depends on what they're going to do with Shakur Stevenson at this particular point, how they're going to maneuver him, because I feel like they should, try to get Shakur Stevenson in the unification fight, but with who is it? The WBO
Ukrainian.
Yeah. Dennis Berinchik. But we have to see, how that goes there from that front. But outside of that, 2025, maybe around this time, 2025, you might see Tank versus Shakur, but there's still going to be a lot of back and forth talk about, Tank didn't do this, Tank didn't do that, or whatever it is. So, it is what it is on that front.
Yeah, real quick. Shout out to Gregory Q for the $5 salute. Greg and Jason, salute to 2-6 Boxing at getting that 1,000 and growing and the boxing source. Appreciate you, fam. And then a couple of things in the chat I do want to address, because I see Jason addressing William Zapa. We have called William Zapa a duck for not fighting Shakur Stevenson. But again, I don't know what you understand about this. We, for the most part, cover urban boxers, right? We're kind of like an urban boxing show, right? So we cover like more so the African-American fighters. And by virtue of that, we also cover a lot of Latino fighters as well. But William Zapa is not somebody that's going to come up or we're going to do a whole video criticizing him. Sorry, family. Okay, next topic. Who wants to go?
Now, the thing with Zapa, though, he didn't necessarily decline it, because like how the thing with the mandatory works is, you name the mandatory, they order it, they go into negotiations, and then after negotiations, if nothing's worked out, they go to a first bid. If, like, for example, if a mandatory that's named doesn't necessarily want to enter in the fight, then it's either one of two things. Either the champ gives up the belt, the champ is involved with a unification fight, or both parties agree to something where the mandatory gets step aside and the champ is open to facing anybody that he wants. And so in this particular case, we have option 3, where Zepeda got some money, step aside money, in order to have Shakur Stevenson fight Joe Cordina. This has happened multiple times. This has happened.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. But you're telling me they paid step aside to fight Joe Cordina?
That is correct. That is correct. Now again, it does sound bad, but you gotta look at the whole situation though. Why would they have Joe Cordina, as I mentioned before, who lost to Anthony Casase at 130 pounds, and put him at number 13 in the WBC rankings at lightweight? It's only because they were having this fight set up with Shakur Stevenson, right? Because as of right now, WBC has not made any statement in reference to William Zepeda not being a mandatory challenger. So that means he still stands as a mandatory challenger. This is I'll give another example.
But hold on. Because ain't William Zepeda fighting in November?
Yeah, well, they say that's the thing that's being proposed, is that William Zepeda is going to be involved in the Golden Boy card in November,
and that's the problem.
But that's part of the agreement. That's part of the agreement. A step aside, because number one, WBC has not named another mandatory. That's number one, and number two is that if you having this agreement put in place, this is no different than when you had Adonis Stevenson as a WBC light heavyweight champion years ago, and Eleider Alvarez was a mandatory challenger. You know how many times that they paid Eleider Alvarez step aside money for Adonis Stevenson to go ahead and have voluntary defenses or whatever it is? It happened so many times that Eleider Alvarez ended up fighting Sergey Kovalev for Sergey Kovalev's titles. He ended up beating Sergey Kovalev, but that was that situation. Same situation here, because like I said, unless William Zepeda is not named a mandatory challenger anymore, as of right now, he's still the mandatory challenger, and that means he got step aside money.
So that's crazy, because he's being framed as a duck when that's not true. But I also believe that I don't believe Shakur is fighting him next.
Now I've heard that he might not fight Zepeda next. I heard that he might fight another fighter with it that's from the UK.
So they gonna pay him step aside again?
That could be it. Because the plan that I've heard is Joe Cordina, Mark Chamberlain, then William Zepeda.
I've seen that.
Crazy work, ain't it? That's crazy work, but it looks like
it's all Al Haymon fault.
Man, what is some of you guys talking about in the comment section? Talking about we spreading false information. Do you understand why this man's name is the Boxing Source, fam? Like, come on, dude.
This is SPP, Greg. Dude, what you expect?
All right,
people got connections, ASVP TV, that you don't. I don't understand why you don't understand that. I know you call yourself ASVP TV, and maybe you got a channel, but you simply don't have the connection that some of us do. So sit back, relax, and let us educate you, son, young punk. ASVP TV is 26, so that's why I call him a young punk. Anyway, go ahead.
It shows. Hey, JR, have you heard anything about Zepeda? I've seen rumors about Zepeda fighting two people. One was Kambosos, and the other is Tevin Farmer.
The Kambosos is one. I think that was going to be part of that November card that was posted up.
Yeah.
I think it was Chava Rodriguez from ESPN that put up that card. I was going to see if I could look that up. Because, they said that they wanted to have a Golden Boy type card or whatever it is. But we got to see if that's going to be solidified in November. But, that was one of those potential fights. William Zepeda versus George Kambosos is part of a Golden Boy Promotions with Riyadh season in November. But it was going to be in Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia for that card that they got going on. Yeah, I don't know about all that.
Okay.
It'd be crazy if they tried it, but yeah, it's weird though. But like I said, with that whole thing with their agreement, that's pretty much how it goes there with the WBC. Sometimes is that they'll be able to give mandatory challengers step aside money in order to have a voluntary defense, and that's what happens here. That's what happened here with Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah, Shakur's a duck and Zepeda's still a duck. I don't care what information is out there. All right. So Jay, I think we had one more topic, and I believe it was Bruce Ennis moving up to 154 pounds. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So why don't you kick us off with that, and then we'll go around the table here and comment on that.
Eddie mentioned after the fallout of the dealing with him and with Boots and Brian Norman that Boots could possibly move up to 154. I believe he said he would vacate his belt to go up to 154, so he went out to fight Quran. But I don't remember him mentioning. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember him mentioning who he may try to fight at 154. I know that 1 minute I read someone that was supposed to be Mazadov possibly, but that fell off. He's possibly fighting someone else, and then it was Buachuk as well. But if he goes to 154, then that's going to make some other shit pop off. I'd rather him. I mean, if he goes 154, it's a lot more smoke for him there, I think, than at 147. I'll be cool with that.
Y'all let me know if I'm wrong, but this is my 2 cents. I'm no expert and I don't have no sources, but why would Boots go up to 154 with no belt? That makes no sense. He could go up to 154 and challenge the what he got that right now, the IBF, whoever the IBF champion is or something like that.
No, it doesn't work like that. That's not how it works. Only the WBO has that rule. No other sanctioning body has that rule where you become the mandatory because you're the champion at a lower weight class.
Oh, that's just the WBO with that?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would absolutely be upset with Eddie because I came to you so that I can get undisputed at 147, and now you're telling me I have to drop my belt and go up to 54. Like, I'm pretty sure that's not what we talked about. You should be doing whatever it is you need to do in order to get me these fights. And I feel like I could see Boots being a little upset about that because from what I hear was he was advised to go to 54 with the PBC, and that's why he didn't sign with them because he didn't want to go to 54.
Now let me push back here, 2 Cent, because you specifically said that Brian Norman shouldn't be paid $2.5 million yet. Now you're arguing that Boots should be upset with Eddie Hearns because he's not getting him the fight.
No, what I was saying was I could see both sides.
Oh, okay.
And I do agree that the money is too much, but at the same time, Boots could be thinking I came here because I thought you would be able to provide those funds because you're with Turkey. But then at the same time, that would also set a bad precedent. So, like, I see both sides of it, but I don't know, like a rock in a hard place. But I definitely would feel some type of way if I have to go up to 54 when that's not what we talked about.
So I don't know if it's a situation where he feels like he has to go up to 54, right? He could stay at 147 and fight Karan. But at the same time, when you start thinking about what is at 147, and maybe Boots is looking at the opportunity to make a whole lot of moolah at 27, get ready to turn 28, maybe the thought process is, man, there's a lot of guys at 154 pounds that could possibly be food for you too. You could go 154, win the titles. We already see Terence Crawford don't want to fight anybody. So if he doesn't want to fight anybody, he doesn't take the fight with Sebastian Fundora, then he may be stripped of the titles. You may be able to go up there and get 1 or 2 titles real fast, specifically with your association with Turkey Al-Sheikh. You may be able to get 3 titles in one damn fight. You see what he's doing for Terence Crawford. So there may be an opportunity for him to become undisputed at 154 and make the money and possibly get a big fight with Terence Crawford if he moves up there and Turkey Al-Sheikh pushes it. So I think it makes a lot of sense to move to 54. Because think about it, even if he wins at 147 and becomes undisputed, what does he really gain? Okay, you become undisputed, but just like Terence Crawford, you haven't really made a whole lot of money. The money is at 154 right now. So he may have been looking at the tea leaves and said, hey, this makes a lot of sense because I'm not fighting Karan. let's move up to 54 and make those ducats.
Hey Jay, you got something on this here real quick?
Now you go ahead, JR.
All right. So the situation here with Boots Ennis is that okay, he signed with Matchroom, and part of the reason why he signed with Matchroom was because while he was under Cameron Duncan there, and they had an agreement with Showtime, is that he couldn't get the fights that he wanted at 147, whether it was against Errol Spence Jr. or against Terence Crawford, as he was an IBF mandatory at the time. So when he was elevated to champion, he was interim champion. He had the fight there against Roman Villa at Atlantic City last year. Then he was elevated to full champion. When he was elevated to full champ, he was scheduled to face Cody Crowley. And at the time, Cody Crowley was really the guy at number 1 in the IBF rankings. So once that particular fight fell through, then they had to, get a replacement opponent there. And that's why it ended up being David Evansian. So at this particular time, you still have Cody Crowley that's not available there at 147. And for some reason, they elevated Kieran Chikazian as the number 1 fighter there in the IBF rankings. And, I've said this multiple times here, said this outside, and, this was from, I wouldn't necessarily say a direct source, but it's a source that, me, Jason and Greg know about, that Boots said, no, he's not fighting Kieran Chikazian, right? So if you have this potential move up to 154, as I mentioned, there's a whole lot of opponents out there that's available for him at 154 pounds. 2 of them have been mentioned. Former champion Israel Madrimov is one. And, Sergey Bochuk, who, was the WBC interim champion, is number 2. And I feel like those are 2, very good options at that particular instance. Also, you could potentially try to go after a Josh Kelly there with he was ranked number 2 in the WBO because the number 1 ranked fighter is Tim Tszyu, who's going after the IBF champion. So there's multiple options there at 154, and I say they're much better than having any type of potential fight against Kieran Chikazian at this point, because it's why fight Kieran Chikazian again to hold an IBF belt when you could have another, you could host another fight there at Wells Fargo Center on November 9th is what the target date is against a 154-pound fighter. I don't see why not.
Now, who's to say the people at 154 fight him? I know we believe theoretically they will and they should, but who's to say he won't run into the same issues?
He possibly could, but my thing is, it seems like all their zaddies, Turkey Al-Sheikh is involved. I'm not talking about Boots Ennis, but it seems like he's involved. So maybe there's an opportunity to make those fights. That's all I'm saying. It will make sense to me that with his involvement, potentially, that these fights could be made.
Yeah, potentially it is correct. Because we don't know if Turkey Al-Sheikh would be directly involved with some of these other fighters. As I mentioned there with Sergey Bochuk, that's not necessarily a Turkey Al-Sheikh fighter. So you could still have Boots fight someone like a Bochuk if he's ready to get back in the ring there, by November or something like that. But I feel like more so that Josh Kelly would be a potential opponent for Boots Ennis there at 154 if he wants to have that next schedule for November.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to see what Boots does. I think the 154 move would make a whole lot of sense. I don't, even if he fights Brian Norman Jr. or Stanionis, and all those would be good fights. Definitely that I would be interested in seeing for sure. But in terms of moving the needle, I think those fights are at 54. I mean, you got, and not to say any of these guys are going to fight him, right? But maybe for the right price, they would. You got Mel, you got potentially Spence, you got Crawford, you got Virgil Ortiz, you got Madrimov now.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So there's many options there for him to fight. Fundora, So there's a lot of options there for him to fight, get more credibility in wins, and make a pretty penny doing it. So it does make sense, but especially if he feels that he can beat these fighters. But I think if he moves to 54, my thing is all this, and this is what drives me absolutely crazy, man. It's just like some of these arguments that when we start talking about a bias and people don't want to admit their biases, it's just crazy to me. So we heard during the Errol Spence lead up that Terence Crawford, what was it? He always defends against his mandatories, which is not true. If I'm not mistaken, he pays step aside money to make the fight with I can't remember the gentleman's name, but that's how he became undisputed at 140. He moves up to 47. That's all we're hearing, that mantra, right? Then he beats Errol, becomes undisputed, but he has no real interest in Jaron Ennis. And said it before they even stripped him of the title. That's part of the reason why they stripped him. Then he goes on to say, if you want to see that fight, pay me. Then you hear all the Terence Crawford fans say, yeah, pay him. But that was before Turkey Al-Sheikh. Then Turkey Al-Sheikh comes along. He has the resources, according to all the Terence Crawford fans. Their Zaddy has unlimited resources. So now the fight can potentially be made. But then you start hearing the argument of what has Jaron Ennis done? The same argument that other people were making about Terence Crawford, yet they found that to be an issue, but don't find the same thing to be an issue. Then you start hearing the arguments about if Boots Ennis really wanted to fight, he would actually move up to 154, but all he's talking about is being undisputed at 47. And then when a conversation comes up, potentially saying that he may move up to 54, then they have an argument against why Terence Crawford shouldn't have to fight him at 54. What the fuck? You said that's what he was supposed to do. I mean, does that make sense to y'all? I mean, it just seems very weird to me. And I see Gregory Quattlebaum in the building. So let me go ahead and unmute you.
Hold on. We got someone that we need to.
Fuck! Oh yeah, sure.
That's right.
I gotta be in the building. YSM, what's going on, fam?
What's happening?
It was good, y'all. First, I want to get a shout out to Mr. Greg. I see Mr. Greg in the building.
Hey.
How you doing, sir?
I'm fine. I was about to say, and then I thought about it. There should be a Super 6 type tournament until I remember it took almost 30 years for them to get through it. So I think I better back away from that a little bit. But that would be great if it could be done well, because it would at least guarantee sorting out the 154 division, because it's already top heavy. You just saying you got all those guys, and Boots will just add more fuel to the fire, because you got great guys with skills. People kind of know them, and they'll almost be forced to face each other, as opposed to all this unnecessary maneuvering about who's going to fight who and how much is going to get paid. And if they could do that, I think we'd all would be satisfied. Is there enough money to do it? And can it be done without the problems that happened with the original Super 6 when everybody was arguing about money, promoters were doing certain things, and it just took too long? But I think if they could do that, a lot of these issues that we're talking about and that I hear y'all talking about could be resolved pretty quickly. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm gonna let YSM jump in, man. I want to hear his thoughts. Plus, what we're talking about here currently, which is Jaron Ennis moving up to 54.
As far as that Super 6 tournament, you got so many big names like Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. They're not doing that. They want to pick their spots. So it'll be more of the guys who are trying to make a name for themselves, like a Tim Tszyu, a Boots, Jesus Ramos, guys like that.
Yep.
So then it kind of dilutes the tournament, because you don't have two of the biggest names, and whoever wins that tournament, people will be like, oh, they're not better than Bud. So there's no point in even having it if Terence Crawford or Errol Spence won't be in it. As far as the Bud Boots thing, I don't think we ever get it, because even I feel like people took his tweet the wrong way. When he said you pay for it, I don't think he was talking about like, well, give me money. I think he was telling the fans like, y'all want it so bad, you put your money up for it, then. Not tell them to put money up. Because at every turn, he said it's not about money with Boots. Like, I feel like Terence Crawford fans are putting words in his mouth in the sense of, he wants a certain amount of money. No, he said he's looking for certain fights, and Boots is not one of those fights. I don't think it ever happens. I've actually talked to his team. They're not looking for that. One of his trainers, they're not looking for that. No, that shit is not going to happen. You're not going to see another Boots Terence Crawford interview from me. This shit is not going to happen, yo.
Yeah.
Damn.
I don't disagree with that, and I want to do one thing too while I got you here, because this is something that keeps popping up over and over and over, and I think you were closer to this situation from a content creator perspective than anyone outside of Blue Blood Sports TV. So I do want to just get your thoughts on it on the record.
Go ahead.
So many people come back and talk about this whole meeting with Bozy Ennis, this meeting with BLK Prime. They try to present this as a real opportunity for Jaron Ennis, and I've pushed back on several occasions, saying that that's not true, because if you really had a real offer, if this was truly something that Terence Crawford was seeking, then either Terence Crawford or someone from his representation would have been on the phone with either Bozy Ennis or, subsequent to that, God, I just lost his name. Stephen Espinosa.
Yeah,
they would have been on the line with him, right? So with no representation there from Terence Crawford, this was just an attempt from BLK Prime to either backdoor their way into an agreement with Jaron Ennis, or to figure out a way to get some kind of fee for making a fight. That was always my thought, just based off of the information that was out there. What's your thoughts on that?
I think. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Greg.
No, I just got to say, I think you were right with your first hypotheses. I think they were trying to backdoor to get in.
Yep.
Because they were trying to save that. I guess BLK is still, Prime is still an act for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding was they was trying to stay alive. They thought the Crawford-Avenesian fight would do something for them in terms of growing the subscribership. That's my understanding. I could be wrong on that. But it's almost similar to what Showtime was trying to do in increasing their subscribership by having Jake Paul, and found that didn't work either, to be quite honest. So I kind of think you were right on with your first one.
Yeah, I've been saying it for a while. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to connect the dots, at least in my mind, that this was never a real offer. But I want to get your point, your opinion on it, Jamil.
I'd have to be real careful, because a lot of people didn't get this news. I had the news and the information in real time.
Yep.
I knew the president of BLK Prime. He's a good dude and whatnot. And this isn't the first time that they've pursued Jaron Ennis. Let me say that. Okay. Mm-hmm. They've tried multiple avenues, and y'all know what I'm alluding to. Yep. To try to get Boots, right? All right. So a lot of fans. There's been a whole lot of misinformation about this particular situation, because everybody thinks this was for the Avenesian fight, and it cracks me the fuck up, because no matter how many times people tell them over and over again, these negotiations and these discussions happened after Avenesian. It was not for that fight, okay? So if you listen to a channel and that's what they're telling you, that is not the case. This happened, what was it, mid-January. So whereas though they're trying, like, they don't have Terence Crawford under contract, they don't have Boots under contract. They're literally trying to middleman their way into a fight.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that they're wrong for doing it, because shit, if you're trying to launch, your app, you're trying to make a splash, you got to do what you got to do, right?
Facts.
So, they asked Bud, would Bud be interested? Now this is coming from their side. They asked Bud, would he be interested in a Boots fight, right? Well, actually, they wanted to do Manny Pacquiao initially. Blue tells me that Blue is the one that pitched Boots. He said he asked Bud about Boots because Bud was looking for a fight in March, because in Bud's mind, he's thinking that Keith Thurman is facing Errol Spence, right? But we know that didn't materialize. But anyway, so he asked him about a Boots fight. Bud at this point saying, I don't care. Like, he ain't never seen nobody like me. If you can make it, then make it. But I need to fight in March. But mind you, JR can attest to this. Bud is negotiating with Golden Boy at the time, right? For his WBO mandatory, right? So he's looking at all his options. Okay. So right now, options: Errol Spence, Jaron Ennis, Alexis Roken, right? Okay, cool. So they go to Bozy. Bozy says he's with it, but as the conversation's happening, they keep asking about, okay, how long's your deal with Showtime, etc. Now, Bo's with Showtime, mind you, Showtime is popping. He's like, I'm loyal to Showtime. If you want to get this deal done, because I want it, let's get Showtime on the phone and y'all make something happen. So this is where the Crawford fans, he's loyal to Showtime. He turned it down. He never fucking turned it down. He said he was loyal to Showtime, so I'm not going to exclude them out the deal. You got to negotiate with them. And people was like, well, why would you have a network head negotiate your deal? Steven Espinosa is a lawyer by trade. So for anybody that didn't understand, why would he want him to negotiate that? That's what he does for a fucking living. That's what he does for a career. Right? All right. So they get on the phone, and Espinosa, you already know he's a shark. So he's inquiring, okay, well, do you have Crawford under contract? Do you have Crawford under contract? This kept coming up. And they kept saying no. So when he gets off the phone with first, let me back up. He wanted exclusive rights to that fight. He wanted exclusive rights to the fight. He could only have the fight in June. I feel like he was playing hardball, being that BLK Prime's an upstart. But after he gets off the phone, he calls Terence Crawford to inquire, his interest in the fight. And, Crawford tells him, I'm open to anything because Errol Spence is fighting Keith Thurman. I got to stay busy. He tells him, well, he's not fighting Keith Thurman. Then you get Spencer Crawford.
Yep.
So I don't understand like where the whole, Crawford's ducking Boots or Boots is ducking Crawford. I don't believe that to be true. I don't think that they're scared of each other. At this point, Terence Crawford is only looking for a certain type of fight. Boots has said yes every time Crawford's name has come across his desk, and it just didn't materialize. I mean, are you going to fight Jaron Ennis or you going to fight Errol Spence? I'm not mad. Like, shit, you got to do what you got to do, bro. That's the difference between like $15 to $20 million.
Ryerson, what type of fight do you think Terence Crawford is looking for?
Cash out.
Exactly, 100%. And the only cash out fight that's available to him right now, which is really not available to him, is a Canelo Alvarez fight. That's it. That's the only fight he's going to be interested in.
A cash out or a guaranteed winnable fight for solid money.
which is not Boots.
we're respectfully, while boxing fans, like some boxing fans is going to look, they just look at the resumes and be like, oh, well, there's no way that Boots could beat Bud. Look, no. Terence Crawford knows very well that kid is a full balanced breakfast, and he knows what he brings to the table boxing-wise. Right? Does Bud, in my opinion, think that he can beat Boots? Yeah.
Of course.
But does Bud also know that Boots is capable of beating him? Yeah, he knows.
Yep.
You're 36 going on 37. If you see boxers, like A-level boxers who are older, spar these young dudes be coming out on their ass. Pause. And it presents problems because they're not used to fighting at that pace. They haven't fought at that pace in 10 years.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's why they bring him in the camp. So he definitely knows the threat that he possesses, and he, in my mind, he's not looking at that. Canelo provides him a huge bag, and he provides him, I gotta say this nicely, a scapegoat. If I move up and lose to Canelo, nobody's going to fault me for that.
Exactly.
If I lose to Boots, people, you already know fans are going to be like, oh, he was never that good. Spence was drained. See, I told you he was a hype job. So I can understand his logic.
Oh, I understand his logic, and I've always understood his logic. But you have a lot of Terence Crawford fans that are currently out there that will tell you that Terence Crawford can't go up and beat Canelo Alvarez. We've argued on multiple occasions that weight
He
class
cannot.
matter.
He cannot. He
Yeah,
cannot.
he's gonna go up there and get put in the dirt.
Yeah, they believe he can knock out Canelo.
He's gonna go up there and get put in the dirt.
Yo, plenty of dudes said. Wait, Jay.
It's a couple of them in the chat. It's a couple of them in the chat.
Plenty of dudes said that he would go up there and stop Canelo. And did y'all watch the Majoron fight? Yo, this weight, like you said, this weight class is for a reason. Like, you punching on these bigger men, bro. And Canelo's got a world class. I'm talking about Hall of Fame chin.
Yep.
And you think you're gonna beat Canelo on the cards? Good luck with that one.
But not only that,
here's the thing that
Canelo actually has the ability, and people keep trying to compare him to Mod. Oh, Canelo's different. He doesn't fight like Mod. Nigga, he doesn't have to. Canelo can stay in the pocket and counter a counter. And if he counters Terence Crawford's counter and connects clean, he's gonna put him in the dirt.
You nailed it, Greg. You nailed it right there. You're gonna have a matchup between two counter punches. That's what you're gonna have here with the Canelo versus Crawford fight. And if Crawford, wants to somewhat get out of his element to be a aggressor of sorts against Canelo Alvarez, well, we saw what happened with Canelo against Munguia. What happened there with that fourth round knockdown? 1, 2, 3, boom, 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 knocked him down. And after that, you really didn't see Munguia be that much competitive anymore in that particular fight. So you might get something like a mixture of a Munguia and a Charlo there with Terence Crawford, because hey, listen, once you get the bag, that's pretty much it. Hey, you might just try to coast through the rest of those 12 rounds, because if you get hurt against Canelo, then that'll be that, and you just be getting a bag, but you're gonna have to recover for some time in order to get yourself up to full strength again if you're going up against Canelo Alvarez. So that's why he's kind of pursuing that, not because he may believe that he could win, but he might given who he trains.
No, he believes he can win. He's a fighter.
He believes he can win.
He's a fighter. They think they can beat anybody.
He believes he can win. I mean, we know who he usually trains against or spars against over there at B&B, with 168 pounders, 154 pounders, that type of stuff. But from a skill level perspective, yeah, it won't be a good look for him.
Just a quick question, because a lot of people believe that because he was able to do what he did against Errol, that he can do something similar against Canelo, talking about flat foot like Errol. He does this like Errol. And I'm like, yo, Errol honestly was an anomaly. And I think, without making excuses, I think most of us feel like that wasn't the exact Errol Spence that we've seen in the past. What's y'all thoughts on that?
Well, the thing with the comparison there between like Errol and Bud is that with Crawford, at least at 147, right? He had the dimensions there. It was almost like Floyd Mayweather, like when Floyd Mayweather was at 135 and all that other stuff, right? So with Terence Crawford, he was pretty much like around the same height, but he had a longer reach. So he could pretty much gauge the distance very well against someone like Errol Spence. So if Errol Spence was able to throw his jab or whatever it is, his right jab, then at times, and you've seen it early in that fight, Terence Crawford was able to get the spacing right so that Errol Spence was basically out of range. And then you see there on the flip side with Terence Crawford, when he was able to throw his jab, he was able to land it from that particular distance. So he had those particular advantages there against Errol Spence from the get-go. Against Canelo, he won't necessarily have that.
Canelo's also going to be able to hurt Terence. That's the big difference too. I believe Spence was, in a sense, tailor-made for. That's why I said way before the fight happened that was going to be an easy fight for Terence, as it turned out to be just that. But I believe that that Spence was made for Terence to beat up on. But going up to 168, two weight classes really, and he's really not even acclimated in the one he is right now at 154. So it really, to me, would be going up three weight classes if that would be the next fight. He's going to get hurt badly because he will try to fight Canelo.
Yes, he will.
And Canelo will knock him out because that's how he's going to fight Canelo. That's the problem there. Sometimes you can have too much heart. You can think too much of what your skill set is, and you're fighting a bigger man. But that's the stubbornness that's in Terence. He'll go up there and he'll risk getting his jaw broke and everything else because he's fighting a man that's just too big for him.
Yeah, I want to see him. I want to see him get put in the night mode. But I got
damn, bro. I'm gonna steal that, Greg. Night mode. I'm gonna steal.
Yeah, I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole. I've been one. But then I want to come back to Jaron Ennis, right? Because the reason why I've always wanted to see Boots, and I know the fight's not going to happen, but you know, we're just talking hypotheticals here. The reason why I've always wanted to see Boots is because Boots versus Crawford is because I want to see what it looks like when he's in the ring with a guy that can hit him from the same range, a guy that has the same athleticism, a guy that is extremely explosive, right? I've never seen Crawford in the ring with that kind of fighter. That's the reason why I wanted to see it. Thoughts on that fight? I give Terence Crawford the edge because he has the experience. But man, Boots being able to hit him from range with the and I know people try to throw the David Avanesian shit out there, and it's interesting why it's something because I literally, you had an interview with Boots afterwards, and literally word for word, he basically said what I had been explaining to our subscribers, which was he got hit and realized this guy ain't got nothing for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to get him up out of there, and it's timing. That was the only reason why Avanesian was able to connect. Plus, he connected on Crawford too. So, what's your thoughts on that type of fight? Like, what would that fight look like?
So you about to get dudes mad at me in the comments, but whatever. First off, athleticism-wise, while I think Bud is a very explosive athlete, they're on two different levels. It's like Vince Carter and Kobe Bryant. I think Kobe is an elite level athlete, but he's not Vince Carter.
Right.
Like some dudes are like one of one. I feel like Boots is like Roy Jones, Manny Pacquiao, Cassius Clay athletic. Whereas Bud is like Floyd Mayweather Jr. athletic, like just a notch below. I think Boots stops Crawford. I think Boots would always stop Crawford. Stylistically, Boots is a nightmare for a fighter like Terence Crawford. A lot of the things that he does well and that he has over people, he doesn't have over Boots. And Boots is the naturally bigger man, right? I think that's overlooked along with being 10 years younger.
Mm-hmm.
Bud, like everybody talks about Bud's adjustments. His primary adjustment when fighting out of orthodox is to switch southpaw because I feel like he punches better. He has a better punch variation and a better control at distance through southpaw. That shit won't work on Boots because Boots can switch right with him.
And Crawford's just a southpaw. He ain't making no difference.
Yes, honestly, respectfully, Crawford is a southpaw that switches orthodox.
Yep.
Boots is he's a natural switcher. He actually like shoots a basketball with like both hands. The shit is weird. But I just don't think that I've never thought that, you know, Boots wouldn't stop him. I don't know what people see that would think that it would go any other way. It's like, yeah, Terence Crawford has the experience. He does. But there's not one person that Terence Crawford's ever fought that you wouldn't favor Boots to knock out.
Facts. Let me throw something else out there real quick because I see some dumbasses in the chat. Y'all know I love y'all. I still love y'all. Y'all part of the channel, but you saying some dumb shit right now. They talking about Boots not having the ability to cut off the ring, and they're using Karan as the example. Now, did he struggle a little bit cutting off the ring in that fight? Sure. But the problem is that they don't understand is that Terence Crawford is 37 years old. He does not move like that anymore. Like, what version of Terence Crawford y'all think is going to get in the ring?
He doesn't have that type of stuff anyway.
Yeah, honestly, fans get caught up in, okay, they see somebody have success with doing something, and then they attribute that attribute to their favorite fighter. The reality is Terence Crawford is going to fight Boots. And that's why I think he's going to get stopped, is because he's not going to try to survive. Terence Crawford believes that he's that guy. And I got him getting caught in the exchange, being that Boots is number one, the bigger, faster man. And reaction time being 36. For anybody in the chat, you remember you at 27 and you at 37. If you are, I'm 39. I am not the same guy as I was in my 20s, right? You know you're a step slow, and your eyes are a step slow.
Yep.
Not just your legs, not just your head, your eyes are a step slow. Now, the only way I see Terence Crawford winning that fight is if he walks Boots into a shot. And I got a question for you, Mr. Greg, because I know you're a Bud guy. What happens if Boots can take that shot?
That's where that's the big question there. I think.
Wait, Mr. Greg, I'm gonna ask you a question. Have you ever seen Bud wobble by smaller men than Boots?
Yep, I sure have.
Have you ever seen Boots wobble?
No. But here's what I'm about to say though on that. Experience is the big thing here. It will be a major, major factor if they do fight. Terence knows how to use his skills even at age 37 better than Boots knows how to use his skills at age 26 or 27. That's where the experience comes in from my point of view.
How'd that work out for Larry Holmes and
Mike Tyson?
No. Larry, you got Cassius Clay versus
Larry Holmes?
Sonny Liston. How'd that work out?
Sonny Liston was shook up because he thought LA was crazy. Sonny had a very deep superstition about crazy people.
No, so he got all Mr. Greg, he got all boxed. Mr. Greg, sometimes you can be the most experienced motherfucker on planet Earth. When there's a young phenom that's coming along, 9 times out of 10, the young elite level fighter the young guy who's going to be an elite level fighter is going to beat the older fighter.
And that's where the question.
That's just the reality in boxing.
That's a reality, but that still comes back to, can he still do what I just said he could, because he's more experienced at using his skills than Boots is. I think Boots will come into the fight primarily supremely confident that he won't beat Terence, but I think he will be a tiny bit reckless in doing so. So I have no qualms about the fight, and I think Boots could beat him. I don't think he will. That's the whole difference here, and I think the difference will be because of how Terence will use his experience against a more inexperienced fighter who also is just as skilled and just as talented as he is. That's what. Did
you watch the Madrigal fight?
Yeah, I did. I saw that Terence had learned something in that fight. He learned that 154 is going to be a big challenge for me for not just that fight, but for everybody who's going to be at 154.
I'm gonna teach you something real fast that you may not know, right? First off, Boots is bigger than Madrigal, naturally. Right. That's one, right? 2, Boots is. It's funny that the guys they call weight bullies, Errol Spence and Boots. And I'm not an Errol Spence fan. My nickname for Errol Spence is the plain Hogan. JR knows, but they operate under a handicap in every fight. A lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people don't know that. They fighting with a rehydration clause. So when people complain about the rehydration clause that all the Tank's opponents have to fight under, Boots fights under that with being a big 47.
Yep.
What kind of Jaron Ennis do you expect to see at 154 pounds? When he gets 7 pounds without a rehydration clause. What kind of Jaron Ennis do you expect?
Great point. Never thought about that.
I expect to see, I expect to see him fight like a 160-pound fighter. Basically, that's what
that's why I'm asking, how we know these people not gonna be acting the same way at 54?
Well, but that's
I think they definitely gonna act the same way at 54.
Damn.
No, she's talking about whether or not they would actually accept the fight with Boots.
I think he's gonna get ducked at 54.
Oh yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but to that point there with Jaron Ennis, he had basically, went up the ranks at 147 and ended up being at the, IBF mandatory, and then of course eventually interim champion and full champ. So with that, he had to basically go through that 10-point rehydration clause there for the IBF. Now, without all that, you don't really have to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? So how are you going to deal with a Boots Ennis that doesn't have to really, deal with that rehydration clause, so to speak?
You got to outsmart him the same way. I'll use an old fight at least. The same way a Ray Leonard, who hadn't been in the ring almost 5 years, with a Marvin Hagler. He beat Marvin Hagler because he just outsmarted him. I think the way to beat Boots, if he fights Terence, will be to outsmart him. He's not going to out-punch him, I don't think. He's not going to be stronger than him, but he can outsmart him. And that's how I think that fight will go if it ever happens.
Hey, Mr. Greg, do you think Bud is reckless?
He can get reckless when he gets hit. He'll get right into the trenches the minute somebody hurts him.
Okay, so what a lot of times Bud fans do is they project Floyd Mayweather abilities and mindset on a Terence Crawford.
Yes.
Right? When he has never shown, because when people talk about Bud, they say that he's this super cerebral fighter.
Yes.
That is always defensively conscious when history tells you that isn't the case.
Right.
Exactly.
Bud he's a street fighter with skills.
They talk about that specifically with Canelo Alvarez, talking about what Mayweather was able to accomplish, not realizing and understanding that Mayweather was able to neutralize Canelo with his defense, which Terence Crawford is not a defensive fighter.
Nope.
It amazes me when they do that.
Well, I don't think Bud is Mayweather by any stretch of the imagination. That's my feeling. I don't think he's Mayweather. But
hey, real quick, Captain DGF hit us with the $5 for the low price of $20 million. You too can witness a miracle in real time. I don't know what that miracle is. If you say so, fair. But while I got y'all, we got 160 people in the building. Only 98 likes. Dog, smash the like button so other people can find this content. If you're new to the channel, this is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, where we're always dropping boxing-related content, documentaries, takes. I can even bust a rhyme. We do it all here, so make sure you become a subscriber. If you're a subscriber, think about becoming a member, $2.99 a month. It helps to support the channel. All right. Yeah, man. I do still want to get your take on this too, Jamil, because I know you are close to Boots and this whole situation with Brian Norman. So full disclosure, right? I saw somebody in the comment section saying that these are city biases, right? I saw Marty earlier. I was on Marty live. Shout out to manager Marty. I was on his live earlier. Fully in the corner of Jaron Ennis. I fully expect that. I know you're gonna be fully in the corner of Jaron Ennis. I expect that.
Brian Norman, my peoples too.
Huh?
Brian Norman and them, they my peoples too.
Okay, I got you. Now I'm based in Atlanta. I've been neutral, right? I get what Eddie Hearns is saying in regards to $2.5 million, which is the number that we heard is too high. The economics doesn't support that fight at that number. But I understand Brian Norman's position on this as well, meaning nobody wants to see Boots versus Karan. I know I don't want to see that again. So Brian Norman is trying to leverage that to get more money. I can't blame him. What's your thought on that situation?
All right, now mind you, this is a conversation that me and Senior have had. Yep. I can't tell another man what to take. I can't tell another man what his worth is. Yep. I only can tell you what the market is and what the market dictates. Yep. Here's the problem, right? And I feel like people aren't asking the right questions. They're saying, they're putting the pressure on Eddie. Eddie, 500 more thousand will get you this fight. First off, going from 100,000 to 1.7, 1.8 million, that's not a low ball offer. That's not peanuts. Mm-hmm. Right? Let's start off by saying that. Right? Every time that they've gone back to the table, that they have raised the pot. Right? Mm-hmm. So I don't think Eddie doesn't want this fight. The problem is, and that people are overlooking is where's Bob? People are asking that question. Where's Bob? Right? So you're saying 500,000 will get you this fight. Okay, why can't Bob put up the 500,000? It's because Bob doesn't want to put up any money. He just wants to get a free check. The reality is you're going from a unification bout to a co-main event on a contender's card, which I feel like is highly disrespectful. For me to be an undefeated champion and to be fighting on a contender's card that's never fought for a world title. It's not like he's a guy that moved up in weight and he won a world title before. That's highly disrespectful. And I don't know how much he's going to earn on that, but if it was a situation where he could possibly face Stanley Otis or Barrios or another big time fight, as opposed to Boots, I would understand it. But Derek Cuevas on Keyshawn's undercard, I can't say that that's a better alternative, especially the fact that I know Mario Barrios nor Stanley Otis a $1.8 million payday.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
So,
real quick. ASVP TV just hit me with the $9.99. I say, let's see it. We aren't like you, Greg. You didn't want the Boots fight for Errol. That's not true. And YSM tell Johnny to be quiet with his hating ass. Say my name. Who is that?
It's somebody I have on my channel. If he's a Terence Crawford fan, they hate Johnny, bro. They hate Johnny.
Is he like Mr. Maz?
Mr. Who's that?
Is he like Mr. Maz?
Who's Mr. Maz?
Oh, okay. I thought you knew who he was. He used
No.
to be on. I know. 2 Cent knows who he is, and I think he's been on this channel, but this has been a long time ago. But he's hated on when he comes on to the boxing podcast as well. That's why I asked, was he like Mr. Maz?
Nah, he definitely be hating on Bud and them. But now, yo, hey Greg and Jason, I feel like Crawford fans think that I hate Bud or something like that, thinking I got something against him. Like, nah, I analyzed the fight. Like I always thought that until the Ugas fight, I always thought that he would stop Errol Spence. And right now, I don't have him as my pound for pound number one. I got him sharing that spot with Ugas. Well, I'm sorry, Usyk. I'm sorry. I don't know why I got Ugas on the brain. But no, I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he's a great fighter. But when I analyze boxing, I don't think he can beat Boots. I don't think he can beat Canelo.
Anybody that has a different opinion, and this is what I've learned. I know your platform is a little bit different than ours, because we give a lot of takes, and I don't even really like you're pretty neutral in terms of like giving takes. But anytime you have an opposing opinion to a lot of these fans who, for whatever reason, are emotionally invested in some of these fighters, it's not an emotional investment for me. I'm really not emotional. Like people thought that we went to bed crying at night when Errol lost. Like, no, dude, I sleep like a baby. They said our channel was dead when that happened. We've doubled.
We grew.
Well, we've actually more than doubled. We're up when Errol lost. We were at 9,000, little under 9,000. We just went over 18. So these guys think that there's this emotional investment. No, man, we just give you our opinion, and the reason why you keep coming back to these channels like YSM, Manager Marty, our channel 2 Cent, is because there isn't a lot of, and of course there's a bias in it, right? And some people try to use that against us when we say, or when I say this, that we all have biases, right? This channel has a bias, YSM has a bias, 2 Cent has a bias. We all have biases, but the difference is we use rationale and logic to support our position when many fans do not. And that doesn't mean we hate a fighter. I don't even know any of these fighters. I hate how some of them move, but I don't hate them as people.
That's what the problem is right there. They don't understand that.
Man. Hey, I guess I don't have any bias whatsoever.
But
why you say that?
No, you say like, hey, you have a bias, or Jason have a bias, or whatever it is. I guess I don't have one.
You don't think you have a bias towards certain fighters?
No, I do. That's the thing.
But that's what makes.
Yeah. I didn't name the boxing source, but yeah, I'm saying we all have biases. Every platform has a bias. And if you say otherwise, that's being disingenuous. So, and that's okay as long as you are being logical and rational with how you got to your position.
And somehow, if you say anything about Bud, it's always tied to EJ. It's always tied. You're just mad. You're just mad because he beat EJ. I'm like, no, we want to see that fight. You gave Bud Crawford beat EJ.
Well, I said, let me ask you this: do you get this in your comment section? I mean, literally, we can do a video that has absolutely nothing to do with Terence Crawford, and these some bitches be in the comment section. Yeah, you saw what Crawford did to EJ, or they'll be in a comment section saying, why you ain't doing no videos on Crawford? Then we do a video on Crawford. All you do is videos on Crawford.
Yes. Yo, I thought bro, I be complaining to JR. That's why he laughing.
Haven't y'all realized that's the biggest problem with boxing is the fans? Y'all realize that by now?
Hey, Mr. Greg, it don't matter. Like, yo, because I do a lot of boots content, my subscriber base and viewership is they Terence Crawford fans. Terence Crawford fans hates Boots' guts. I don't know why.
I know why.
He's being mashed up psychologically. This is what makes boxing for fans, I guess, fun, because they do have an emotional attachment to the extreme these days to their favorite fighter. And anyone who's even mentioned of beating him, they're going to dislike that fighter, and they're going to dislike anybody who said it. So if Jason or Greg or anyone else that says, like you say, Boots is going to beat Terence, he's going to knock him out, etc. Well, now you've created a whole horde of fans that's going to be mad at you for even saying it. Now, I have no belief that Boots is going to be. I still don't believe Boots is going to beat Terence if they ever fought. But I ain't mad at you because you feel that way. But again, I'm a different person. Most of the fans who are watching boxing today are much younger, emotionally attached to things, and go to the extreme with it. And that showed when that fight first was even being talked about. You saw all of that, and you're still here because they only are 1 or 2 years older, so they still got the same kind of over emotional responses to anything that's said that seems to be negative or not favorable about Terence. That's all it really is. But that also makes them watch the fight. So if the fight ever happened, that will be some numbers on that fight. And as it goes on, just like the fight was built up with Terence and Errol Spence because they were attached, Boots is now being attached to Crawford. Mm-hmm. So by the time the fight actually happens, y'all going to have a lot of content once it's actually made of people having all their feelings and all their thoughts about this fight going on. Have people arguing with you, calling you names, and all that other craziness.
Mr. Greg, I'm gonna let you know right now, right? If that fight were to occur, the day after that fight, you are going to see trolling from YSM Sports Media that you've never seen before, because they fucked with me. They fucked with me for like the last 2 years, and I'm a dance on their grave, yo. That day.
Let me tell you,
I don't even get into it, but.
I don't care who beats him. If it's Boots, if it's Canelo, I'm dancing on their grave.
Nah, bro. I'm rooting for Bud against. I'm rooting for Bud against Canelo, bro.
No. I was until these Terence Crawford fans kept flooding the inbox and the Discord and all this other shit. Now I just want to see them get put in the dirt.
No, I agree with you. Yo, they out of pocket, and I have a theory. And I don't want to disrespect anybody with my theory, but I feel like, people emotionally attach themselves to whether it's an athlete, a rapper, or something like that, because they want to be associated with winning and being successful, because maybe they aren't where they want to be in life. So it gives them that feeling that, that they're accomplished. Like when they was acting like the Spence versus Crawford shit was gang war. Like, it
was.
Like they roll it up with their colors on, like What up, blood? You know
Were
what I
you
mean?
going
It's like,
on any of the sites during that time?
Yeah,
Dude,
It was
it was
insane.
wild.
it
It was
was
insane.
wild.
Let me give ASVP a shout out real quick because he didn't drop 2 499s, I think. The night of July 29th, you both were dumbfounded, befuddled, deer in headlights. I can't wait to see it again. I'm on y'all ass when he beats Canelo, or we're gonna be on your ass when he gets put in the dirt.
Put it in dirt.
And then here's the second one, 499. And lastly, I promise you, we about to put another fish on the hook, and his name is Cinnamon. Hey man, listen.
yo,
I want to add one thing to Gregory Q comment. The reason why fans get so upset when you mention these other guys that could possibly beat their opponent because they know that they are a legitimate threat.
yeah,
And that's the reason why. If a guy wasn't a legitimate threat, they wouldn't get their panties all in a bunch. So when they realize that this guy's a legitimate threat and they know it deep down in the crevices of their mind, they know that that's a reality, they get upset about it and they react in the way that they react. I agree. Like, these Terence Crawford fans have gotten out of pocket. It was like warfare. Every comment needed to be that. And I also agree that a lot of these men, grown ass men, live vicariously through the win of another man because that represents an achievement that they can never get. And just because they had that right, that becomes their achievement. So that's why I tell cats, stop talking about that 1 year later, right? The fight is over. Terence Crawford won. Let's move on. And act like, man, your fighter has done something in the sport before. Because 1 minute you say the guy wasn't shit. Now you're celebrating a win over a guy a year later. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
yo, I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna back out, right? And I'm gonna go eat dinner. The Canelo Alvarez thing. While I understand what you're saying about if Canelo catches Crawford clean, he's gone. I don't even think it's going to be that. I think that Crawford fans are overlooking this one thing. Yo, when you hit somebody in the shoulders, in the neck, on the hips, just because those aren't scoring blows don't mean those blows don't hurt. Right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna have a naturally bigger man punch. I think he's going to very similar to what he did with Callum Smith. I think he's going to punch on Terence Crawford. Right? Terence Crawford might be elusive to where as though he may not get hit with too many clean headshots, but I think he's going to punch on Terence Crawford the whole night and end up stopping him late because his body's going to break down. Right? You walk around at 168 pounds. You don't fight at 168 pounds. Right? So you're going to look at a much slower Terence Crawford. As you can see, while his hands were still fast, his reaction time was slower. Remember, he's fighting at a weight class that he doesn't normally fight at, along with the layoff. I'm going to attribute a lot of that to the layoff. But with Canelo, he's going to be fighting at 68. Canelo's not coming in at 68.
185.
Yeah, Canelo's going to be every bit 185 pounds.
Yeah.
Punching on him.
And he don't have the IBF belt no more? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, I just don't think he's going to win that fight. I don't want him to do it. I feel like now I'm about to jump into something else, but I have to be real. I feel like black fighters have to jump through hoops to get people's respect. Him jumping up 3 weight classes, I feel like is unnecessary. He's a great fighter. He's going to go in the Hall of Fame. I don't want him to do it. I feel like our fighters always have to overextend themselves in order to get, a certain level of notoriety. So, I don't want him to do that. Huh?
It's more than enough work at 155.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's what you were saying on Friday.
People be talking about Cinnamon like they be talking about Cinnamon like he's sweet, bro. That's nothing sweet about do y'all watch the fights? like he's not some they be like, oh, he's flat footed, he's slow. Bro, in the pocket, he's very elusive. Fuck around with him if you want, yo. Fuck around with a lot of people that thought he was sweet. Oh, he's the A side. He fights bums. He cherry picks. Yeah, all right. Now, does he always have shit in his favor? Yeah. That shit was at a full 160. That second fight, he was putting something on Triple G ass.
Yep. All good, but man, I appreciate everybody that joined the chat today, and everybody that gave to the channel, man. Shout out. I think we're gonna end this one. We had 2 hours and 24 minutes, but appreciate YSM Jamil for stopping by, Gregory Q, the boxing source, of course, and 2 Cents Boxing. Don't forget to hit the like button on the way out the door. Go subscribe to the Boxing Source. Go subscribe to YSM and 2 Cents Boxing as well. Jay, anything else you want to share with the people before we wrap up the show?
Appreciate the content, but stop attaching to saying stuff that we didn't say.
Yeah, they do that all the time. You're never gonna get away with that shit. Get away from that shit. That's all they do is attach us to stuff that we've never said in our lives. But it is what it is. All right, man. Appreciate y'all.
All right, gentlemen.
Next time we'll have some content later on in the week. Probably not tomorrow because I'm traveling, but we definitely gonna get some content out this week. Until next time, peace.
Good night, gentlemen.
Peace.
Good night.
Good night.
All right.